B'Shem Hashem Na'aseh V'Natzliach, Shiur Torah. We are back here in Sunny Isles, Florida. Baruch Hashem. We have a couple of new faces. Always good to see new faces. Always good to see old faces. This is, Be'ezrat Hashem, the last Shiur of the year. Rosh HaShanah is coming in just a few days. Judgment Day, Be'ezrat Hashem, is coming. Hopefully, we do what we're supposed to do during that time and do what we're supposed to do even beforehand, which is to do Chuva. One of the Mitzvot that we learn in this week's parasha. The Shiur is going to be for Refuah Shlema for Levana Bat Sarah, David Ben Esriya, Doris Bat Jora, also for a Refuah Shlema, Refuat Nefesh, Refuat Aguf for Shmuel Ben Simcha Chana and Rafael Ben Simcha Chana, Moshe Yaakov Israel Ben Simcha Chana, and Yitzchak Shushan Ben Simcha Chana, our dear friends from Eretz Israel, from Tveria, Tzadikim, doing serious Chuva, and doing Zikui Arabim, spreading our CDs, and all types of Torah around Eretz Israel, Baruch Hashem. This, as I said in the short film that came out today, Chuva Music Number 4, that this is a responsibility of every one of us, where even though all of us are trying to get closer and closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, each one of us is trying to start praying, start learning, stop sinning the big sins. All that stuff is very good, but as I said here in a full lecture a month or two ago, and in the short film that was released today, the music definitely put it to another level, and the visual image that the team put on there also, mamash, made the hit the spot for a lot of people, myself included. If it wasn't me, I'd still be moved. But nonetheless, the main responsibility that every one of us has, aside from doing tshuva ourselves, is to help Am Yisrael do tshuva. And one of the reasons is because there are many sins that we don't even remember making. We don't remember making it. A lot of time has passed. Who remembers what they did when they were 15 years old and now they're 35? Most people don't. But it still counts in Shemaim. In Shemaim they remember everything. So that's one. Second thing is, sometimes you don't know enough about Torah that you don't even know that what you did was even a sin. You don't know it was even a sin. So how are you going to do tshuva for if you don't know if it's a sin? And a third part, which is we don't have that much time. Reality is, Mashiach can come at any given moment, or our own personal Mashiach that unfortunately we all have to realize is a reality, which is that most people die before they expected. Most people don't die from natural causes. Almost 18.5 million people die every single year around the world. 18.5 million people. It's a lot of people. You're talking about a couple 100,000 people every day. Go to sleep, don't wake up. Some of them are 5 years old. Some of them are 15 years old. Some are 25. Some are 35. Some are 45. Some are 85. But if you look at the percentages of the 85, 95 versus the 25, 35, 45, you would think it should be a lot more of the older, but it's not. It's the opposite. It's the opposite. Much younger people die. Why? That's what Kadosh Baruch Hu decides. So that means that, statistically speaking, Rabotai, lo aleinu v'lo alechem, I mean, we don't really know how much time we have. Nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. So that means that in order for us to complete our tshuva before we leave this world, we have to not only do our best, but also try to get other people to do their best. Because every time they do a mitzvah, it counts for us. Somebody asked me, how does the whole issue of doing tshuva for wasting seed works? We don't know all the details of cheshbonot shamayim and how Hashem evaluates every single thing, because it all depends on the difficulty of the person, it depends on what type of test he has and so on. But generally speaking, if a person stops another person from wasting seed, they just literally did the most amazing thing they could possibly do for themselves. And the reason why is because every time that person would have wasted seed, Hashem knows it would have happened. That counts for that person that actually did it, that helped him do tshuva. So it undoes what he did. So let's say, for example, he's 15, 16, 17 years old. He was never knew that he's not supposed to waste seed. And by the time he's, he finds out he already did it, Shem Yachem, how many times? He doesn't even know how many times. 100, 200, 300 times, 3,000 times, who knows? And now he wants to do tshuva. Why? Because he knows if he doesn't do tshuva, he goes to Gehinom, chapter 7, the place of the gate of, seventh gate of Gehinom, and unfortunately he doesn't leave. So he has to do tshuva. He's scared. He doesn't want to go to Gehinom. He wants to go to Gehinom. Okay, smart, Baruch Hashem. So that means he has to do tshuva. First off, he has to stop. Stop sinning. Second off, he has to commit to stopping by putting all types of fences around himself to not get himself to that point. If he knows that every time he goes to a certain place, he sees immodest things, he doesn't go anymore. If he knows every time he hangs out with certain people, that's what happens, he doesn't do it anymore. If he knows if he watches certain things, that happens, he doesn't do it anymore. He puts a fence around the fence. Third thing is, he does serious tshuva on it by learning about the sin. We have over 30 lectures about it. Learning all of them on a regular basis. Even after you finish the entire playlist, start again. Over and over again, alongside everything else. Why? He has to become an expert in it to understand how big the damage is so he can feel bad about it and cry. Every time a tear comes out, it fixes something. Takes the tears, puts it on his forehead. The Arizal says a big tikkun. He also learns that he has to learn Torah aside from this. Learns Gemara, learns Chumash, helps him. Then he gets other people to stop. Because even though he's doing tshuva, he stopped, he can't fix the few thousand times that he did it right away. It takes time. But if he gets a few people to stop, one of his friends stopped, okay, so now every time that guy doesn't do it, goes to his cheshbon. So it's like as if he didn't do it once. He didn't do it once, it's twice. Now you got another friend, 2, 3, 4. By the end of the year, he has 10 friends that stopped. Even if they didn't stop permanently, they just stopped sometimes. They were doing it 5 times a week, now they're doing it once. That's also good. That's also good. It also counts for him. Why? You think, oh, why? They're still killing. Oh, yeah, but it's less. Each time somebody wastes seed, scientists said that it's 300 million seeds come out of him. Talking about 300 million shedim. 300 million demons are created every time he ejaculates. So that means now, okay, he did it once, it's still 300 million. But 300 million is much less than 1.5 billion. It's a lot easier to fix that. So that way, Rabotai, he's helping himself in a great way by helping other people do tshuva. But that also gives him strength to continue staying strong. Because now he's the influencer. She's the influencer. She got her friends to stop wearing wigs. But one day, she has a simcha. She has a simcha, and she wants to wear a wig. Why? Because, she's used to wearing the mitpachat already for 2, 3, 4, 5 years. She likes the mitpachat. She even wears it a nice way. She puts jewels on it. All that stuff is good, right? But there's a simcha. All the people she hasn't seen in 15 years are going to show up. The cousins, the aunts, the uncles, the nephews, the neighbors, the enemies, the friends. Everybody's showing up. She wants to look extra good. So she knows that if they see her now with the mitpachat, maybe they're going to say something uncomfortable. So she has the yetzara to take the wig out of the closet that she should have burned already. She has the yetzara to go and put it back on her head. But then she thinks to herself, wait a minute, I already got all my girlfriends to stop. I got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 girlfriends to stop. How could I show up to my own with the wig on if I got 9 people to stop? So that kiruv that she did gives her strength to overcome the yetzara that she has. But if she never did any kiruv and she's not an influencer, if he never did any kiruv and he's not an influencer, yetzara shows up and at some point he could potentially lose and it starts all over again. But either way, he has to get himself up and start all over. Point being is that doing kiruv is extremely important for every single person, especially if you're a very social person, if you have a lot of friends, if you know a lot of people, if you have 500 or 5,000 people that you're connected to on Facebook and all of these other social networks. The only reason HaKadosh Baruch Hu allowed these places to exist and be created is simply because it's a tool for us to spread Torah much faster than what we've been able to do in the past. In the past, if you were the best speaker in the world, the Ben Ish Chai, 3 times a year, he would have a lecture, 10,000 people. Now, 10,000 people, Alvaya had 10,000 people in one lecture show up. It's like a stadium. But guess what? Even though I'm not even 1% of 1% of 1% of the Ben Ish Chai, in a matter of 1 month, I get to a lot more people than the Ben Ish Chai did. Why? Because I have 2.5 million minutes of Torah being learned. So even though here, let's say there's 50 people, over the next month, enough people are going to watch this shiur and other shiurim that we have on the internet that it accumulates to over 2 million minutes per month. Ishtabach Shemolad. 2 million minutes versus 10,000 people, you can't count. There's no comparison. Why did the Kadosh Baruch Hu allow nothing like me to go to so many more people? Because we're out of time. We're out of time. Mashiach is around the corner. Everybody's running on tight times. And the point is that the Torah is the last chance for everybody to do tshuva. It's the last chance. So Kadosh Baruch Hu is making sure that in every corner of the world, everybody gets a chance. Every shiur that has emet in it is going to get to every corner. And everybody's going to have an opportunity to listen to the truth. Right now, we are finalizing Be'ezrat Hashem, the translation, the subtitles to the movie that we've been working on for the last 1.5 years of my personal story. And Baruch Hashem, all of the people working on it are amazed by it. To be honest with you, I was amazed by it, even though it's my story, just because of the visual effect and everything, the music, the visual effect, everything that they put is really, really amazing stuff. But we saw that this is so impactful and so amazing that we have to do as much as possible to share it in every corner of the world. So right now we're putting subtitles on it. So far we have Hebrew is completed, Baruch Hashem, that was done finalized a couple of days ago. Hebrew, Dutch, Spanish, Korean, German, Russian, a few other languages that I can't remember. Point being is going to be in close to 10 different languages when it's released, Be'ezrat Hashem, very soon, maybe even as soon as next week. Because this is a type of movie that anyone with a brain and eyes, it's going to be motivated. Jew, non-Jew is irrelevant. You watch it, you'll be motivated. Because it has to do with everything. It has to do with money, has to do with health, has to do with success, failure, religion, secular world, intermarriage, a lot of different things. Scary stuff, fun stuff, funny stuff, all types of interesting things. And also the reality is that we're out of time. We're simply out of time. Now, it's very important that each person takes the opportunities that they're being given from Hashem and take advantage of them to do tshuva. And that's really the main purpose of Rosh HaShanah. Now there's a few things that I can tell you about Rosh HaShanah and really what we're supposed to be doing over the next couple of days, but this can go on for a little while. So if you guys have specific questions, we'll start with those and then we'll move on to some of the other things that I have. So who has some questions? Yes, Chavod.
Before you mentioned if somebody wastes seed and doesn't do Tshuva, they go to hell and never leave, right?
Okay.
So like, let's say they stop entirely themselves, but like don't do period.
If they stop completely, it depends on how high their level of tshuva is. If their tshuva is from fear only, the Gemara in Masechet Yoma, page 38, and it's also at the end of the Gemara Masechet Yoma again, says that if a person does tshuva purely out of fear, then their purposeful sins, the ones they did on purpose, turn into shogeg, turn into accidental. It's still a sin. Doesn't get wiped out. They still have to go to Gehenom, but not forever. If their tshuva is from Ahava, they fall in love with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That takes time. You can't do that on day one. That takes a lot of time, a lot of Torah. But they can get there, because first you have to get to the highest level of fear, and then you start to fall in love with Hashem. It can't be straight to loving Hashem. If they get to loving Hashem, it can actually turn all of their sins into mitzvot. Meaning, they had 3.5 trillion sins, now they have 3.5 trillion mitzvot. That's how amazing HaKadosh Baruch Hu is, how amazing tshuva is. But the truth is, most people are never going to get to that level. And the reason why is because most people are not willing to dedicate their entire life to learning Torah to get to a level of loving HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They'll love a little bit. They'll be scared a little bit. It'll be a combination of both. So if his tshuva is real, it's the highest level of tshuva, then yeah, he's gonna be the highest level. All of he's not gonna have any sins. Everything's gonna be mitzvot. If it's a little lower but still very high, he could have shogeg, meaning that he's still gonna have sins, but it's not this type of sin that he goes to Gehinnom forever. He's just gonna have to pay for it. He has to pay the fine, whatever the fine is. But if he does kiruv, even if he doesn't do the highest level of tshuva, the amount of people that are doing mitzvot on his behalf is going to get him to the highest level that's even possible. The highest level that's even possible. To such an extent that the Zohar Kadosh says that someone that does kiruv, HaKadosh Baruch Hu pretty much already decides what's his deen before Rosh Hashanah already. Says, I'm sitting with you in the judgment. I'm with you in the court, as if Hashem is being prosecuted also. Why? We're partners. We're partners. I created them. You created them. Why? Because you helped them do tshuva. So we're partners. We're both in the court. Who's the judge? Oh, me too also. So that's why it's important. Now, how does a person do kiruv? It's very simple. People think that kiruv is some elaborate thing. You have to sit here on a table and talk to people. You don't have to do that at all. You don't have to talk to people, ever. You can do kiruv in multiple ways. The most common and effective way to do kiruv, if you're not a public speaker, which is few and far in between, and to be honest with you, if I was you, I wouldn't be a speaker. It's a very, very hard life, and it's very hard to fail. It's very, very hard to fail as a speaker. And the reason why is because you are now public property when you're a speaker. And if you're going to speak the truth, that means that the public is going to constantly complain about you. They're going to constantly say, oh, that's too scary. Oh, it's too this. Like you wrote it. Oh, how come you always mention Gehinnom? I just read. What do you want from my life? Don't watch if you don't like it. What do you want? Oh, how come you don't do this? Oh, maybe you should do that. Everybody has their suggestions to you. So if you don't have thick skin and you don't have full of emet, what do? You start become soft, like everybody else, like 99% of the speakers. And you start telling people only stories and fun stuff and pretend like it's Hasidut. Pretend like it's just the Torah and there's no punishment. Somebody came to Shiur last night. He says, listen, I gave up on this place. I said, wow, what happened? He goes, he sat down with me. The guy was almost crying. He says, I've been in this keilah for so many years. My brother had a shul 15 years. I said, so what happened? He says, one time here in a shiur, and one of the guys, I hear him, and I said, you know what, I have to ask. He says, the way you're talking about Hashem, you're talking as if there's no punishment. And he says, so I said, you believe in punishment, right? That's what the guy says. You asked the rabbi, but there's two other rabbis there. He says, you believe in punishment, right? The rabbi looks at him like he came from like a different planet. He goes, Ma pitom. There's no punishment. There's no such thing as punishment. Now this guy actually knows Torah. He says, what do you mean there's no punishment? It's 13 principles of faith. Rambam's 13 principles of faith. If you don't believe there's punishment, you're kofar. You can't count you in minyan. You're a non-Jew. You're a goy. No, what are you talking about? There's no punishment. No punishment. So now the poor guy is shocked. So he's thinking, okay, maybe there's just one kofar. There's rabbi, but he's not a rabbi. He's ra. Just ra and go by. You know. So he's hoping that the other two are going to say something. He looks at the other guy. He's like, what do you want? He agrees. So he's like, oh, maybe the gadol, the big rabbi, looks at him. Hope, signs of hope. No, Moshe Rabbeinu, help us. Here's the Moshe. It's not even Korach. It's not even Korach. He's like, what? There's no punishment. He says this shul is like a huge building, $30 million, very famous. Rabbis don't believe in the basic foundation, aleph bet of Judaism. Now, they used to when they were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. But something happened along the way. The public influenced them because every time you mention punishment, people cringe a little bit. They don't like to hear it, so they stop talking about it. But you stop talking about it, eventually you start forgetting, you start believing, and you start believing the hocus pocus you're talking about. You create a new Torah. That's why, Rabotai, the Sefer Hasidim says that a speaker does not influence his people to do tshuva. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him 50 people to speak to, 500 people to speak to, 1,000 people to speak to, 1,000,000 people to speak to, he will pay the deen on every single one of them. What do you mean? I gave you 1,000,000 people. You had 1,000,000 views on your shiur, your keilu shiur. Not a single person did tshuva. In fact, they got worse because of you. They started doing tshuva because they listened to Rabbi Yaron, but then they listened to you, they went back to their Goal Nefesh. Because you told them there's no Gehinom, you told them there's no punishment, so they went back to the Goya. Oh, there's no punishment? Okay, so let me have fun. There's no punishment? Let me do this. So that means to be a speaker is very hard for most people. Better not to be. So how do you do kiruv? Money. Money. Everyone here either works or will work at some point in their life. No one needs 100% of their money. But the good news is, HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want 100% of their money. What does he want? 10%. He says, I'm going to give you 100%, but use 10% to publicize Torah. 10%. You want to be a tzaddik? 20. But if you do 10, you're still good. That 10%, use it to fund kiruv. If you made $1,000, you take $100. It's 10%. Use it for kiruv. You made $1,000,000, you take 100,000. You take 10 million, whatever it is, 10%. You do that like clockwork. Never skip a day. Never think about it too much. Don't even do too many calculations. And you'll be surprised at how extraordinary that is in Shemaim. Because that not only shows HaKadosh Baruch Hu that you believe that He's the one that provides you the parnasah, but also He gives him a reason to give you more. Why? He says, you're a good partner to have. I give you, you publicize my Torah. Without ever saying a word. All you do is write checks or press a button on the internet, PayPal or whatever. Go to bezaltashem.com, you send your money, that's it, finished. Auto, every month. You don't even do it. Some people, they're so smart, they know how much they're going to make. It's the same thing every month. So what do? They subscribe. Auto payment every, like a phone bill, $150 a month, $500 a month, whatever it is. These people are geniuses. Geniuses. Imagine you go to Gan Eden, you didn't do anything. Geniuses. You know how many geniuses there are in the world? Very few. That's the sad part. There's a lot of people that donate money, but very few geniuses. Why? I mean, you see some people, they build hospitals, they build buildings, they build zoo. They save butterflies that are stranding for survival. There's only 16 left. They saved the tiger named Steve because his nail broke. They saved millions of dollars. Somebody sent me a video 2 weeks ago of a team of doctors. I mean, each one of these doctors back home makes no less than $500,000. Kvod Harav, ma shlomcha? Each one of these doctors makes no less than $500,000, $1 million a year. 15 of them. So you're talking about, right now, 15 of them went to Africa. So they took a lot of time. Each one of them went for like a 2-3 week expedition. Why? They had to save an elephant that was stuck in the mud and almost starved to death. So you see 15 doctors, experts. You're talking about an investment no less than $250,000 that somebody paid for to go save an elephant that was dying. Now you go ask those same 15 geniuses in the secular world to go take the $250,000 and publicize Torah. It's like, what are you, crazy? It's expensive. It's expensive. We can use it to save another elephant. Save a human? No. Save somebody from Gehinom? No. Save 1,000 people Gehinom? No. But to save an elephant so he doesn't die and get eaten by the rest of the animals, which is what he's supposed to do anyway? No. We have to save the elephant. Or you want to save like this imbecile homosexual woman that's on TV, whatever her name is. What's her name? The short hair, she looks like a boy. Ellen, that girl. Yeah, that one. Ellen DeGenerate. She, degenerate? Yeah, degenerate, same thing. Ellen DeGenerate, she has a special foundation, and she got the other guy, the other actor, She got the other guy to give her $4 million to start a foundation. For what? To save special gorillas in South America. There are gorillas that there's only like 600 of them left. She feels bad. So she got millions of dollars from stupid people. For what? To go save them. They don't need saving. If Hashem wants to save them, he doesn't need your money. No, but Ashton Kutcher, the other genius, he decided to give her $4 million on TV. And then many other people gave her millions and millions of dollars to what? To go save monkeys. Save people? No, why? People are going to save themselves. Let them work. Why don't you go to South America? You know what? You want to go take the money, put it in South America? No problem. Why don't you take the millions of dollars, $10, $20 million you have? Why don't you go feed the people? How about that? Instead of feeding the monkeys more bananas that they can do on their own, why don't you go feed the people? How about that? Go to Venezuela. People are starving. They're eating from the garbage, of the garbage. Why don't you go there? Why don't you go to Argentina where their money went down by 90%? Why don't you go feed them? Why don't you go to Greece? Why don't you go to different places where people are actually starving? No, we're going to save monkeys. Let's save monkeys. You know how much Gehenom these people are going to pay for using the bracha that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave them to go save monkeys or elephants? So, that's a stupid person that thinks he's smart, and there's a genius who doesn't even really not realize he's a genius. The guy that's sending $500 a month as maser, or whatever he's sending as maser, autopilot. Go help people do tshuva. That guy, the biggest genius in the world. These other people that have a lot more zeros next to their name, all they are is a zero. Why? He goes to Gan Eden. They go to Gehenom. So you can do kiruv with money. Now let's say you don't have any bracha. Shem Yachem, some people, they're so precious to HaKadosh Baruch Hu that he wants to clean them up from every sin possible. So what does he do? He gives them poverty. Baruch Hashem, there's not many of those in Florida. Most people in Florida are middle to upper class. But let's say person is suffering, doesn't have any money. Pretty much every dollar he has, he already knows where it's being spent on. He doesn't have anything. And he doesn't spend even on donuts. He makes donuts at home. Guy doesn't spend a nickel. He doesn't have any money. So that guy, he doesn't have money. He doesn't have speaking ability. So what does he do? He has to use his time. Time. You have a skill. You know how to do something with that skill. Use part of that skill to do kiruv. Graphics, marketing, whatever that skill is. If that skill is not useful for kiruv, then use your time. Take, I don't know, half hour a day, an hour a day to do kiruv. How? Invite people to come to the lecture. That's it. You have, I don't know, 500 people on your phone. Take the invitation that Michal sent you and forward it to all 500. That's it. Finished. You did your ishtadlut. Guess what? You go to Gan Eden for that. For what? For pressing forward. Now what happens if you don't press forward? In Shemaim, they say, look, we didn't give you money. We didn't give you a skill. We didn't give you the ability to speak. We didn't give you nothing. All we gave you is a phone that you had a forward button, and you still didn't use it. You went on Facebook or Shmeisbook, all these things, but you didn't even press share. Why? You could have gone to Gan Eden. Now, you don't. But you did share the monkey video, though. You did share the duck video. You shared the soccer game. That you did share. You remember the share, which means that you knew that the share button exists. But you never thought to share Torah. You never thought to share the invitation to come to the shiur. And that way, nobody came because of you. So why? You still want us to put you in Gan Eden? Can't. Why? Because it still sins. So that means, Rabotai, that everybody could do something. Everybody could do something. For the most part, most people are going to use money. Some people will use skill. Some people will use a combination of both. Either way, a person, all they need to do is want it. They just need to want to help other Jews go to heaven. That's it. That's all they need. They need to want. If you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. You'll find a way. And that's the biggest bracha you can give yourself. Next question. Yes. New guy from Philadelphia.
How do your avero turn into mitzvot? How does that process work?
Ooh, wow. So, how does the averot turn into... Yeah, it's a good question. It's a good question. It's a long answer. It's a long answer, but I'll give it to you. So the Gemara in a Masechet Yoma, see, Siyat Dishmai opened the page even before the Shiur started. I told you, one day Hashem is going to give you the lecture, I'm just going to sit here as a fan. Pointless for me to come. He makes it seem like I actually know anything. Anyway, so Kadosh Baruch Hu is Shtabach Shemo. No adjective to describe how great he is sufficient. That's why, by the way, when if you look at some of the commentaries, some Sidurim have on the Shema Yisrael, after you get to Emet, you know, the tzitzit part, and then you go to Emet, and you start giving him all types of favorable adjectives. He's this, he's great, he's amazing, da 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 da. But some of the commentaries on it said, don't ever think this is enough. Don't ever think that this is actually all he is. This is like something. It's nothing in reality, but it's something. Because if you really describe all he is, the world will end, the Mashiach will come several times already, and it's not going to be enough. That's how great he is. So anyway, this Gemara says that how do the sins actually turn into mitzvot? Says there is a pasuk in the Torah in Exodus 34, verse 7. It's a very famous pasuk that Moshe Rabbeinu tells the nation the Nosei Avon v'Pesha v'Chata, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu forgives the Avon, the Pesha, and the Chata. He forgives the sin that you did purposefully. He forgives, that's Avon. He forgives the Pesha, the sin that you did not only purposefully, but mamash to get Hashem angry. And he forgives the sin that is a chet, which is an accidental sin, meaning you didn't even know it was a sin. So the Chachamim ask, how come it's disorder? Shouldn't it be first a chatanu, avinu, pashanu, meaning first he forgives the small sin that you didn't even know was a sin, then the sin you did on purpose, but because you just desire it, not because you hate Hashem. You desire to eat pork. It's not because you hate Hashem. You just like pork. You desire to do certain things, not because you hate Hashem. So forgive that too. And then eventually, maybe, hopefully, he'll forgive the big sin. The one that you are like Menashe Hashem Erachem. You look at the book of Chronicles 2, chapter 33, talks about Menashe Hashem Erachem, what this guy did. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu still accepted his Chuva. Why? Because he cried to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and he humbled himself eventually. Maybe we'll talk about that as Hashem later on. But anyway, so the Gemara talks about this. How come this is the order? So, simply speaking, it says that really this is the proof from the Torah that it's not that that's the order of him forgiving, but when a person does real tshuva, HaKadosh Baruch Hu turns his sins that were on purpose, and even the worst sins, the sins of mamash, getting Hashem angry, into a chet, into an accidental sin. That's the source from the Torah that says it. Now, in the end of the Gemara, page 86b, it says that, again, it all depends on the level of tshuva. If the person is doing tshuva purely based out of fear of punishment, he doesn't want to go to Gehinnom. That's it. That's why he does tshuva. Not because he loves Hashem, not because he loves mitzvot, not because he can't wait to learn more Torah, and he literally spends every second learning. He literally spends every second thinking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. No, he just doesn't want to go to Gehinnom. Or better yet, he doesn't really understand what Gehinnom is, but he understands what Gehinnom in this world means. He doesn't want to get sick. He got sick one time, he felt like he was going to die, he doesn't want that feeling again. Or better yet, he never got really sick, but he has a lot of money, and he's scared to lose it. The more money you have, the more scared you are to lose it. So, he saw his friend had a lot of money, he lost all of his money, he saw what happened to his life, his wife left him, his kids left him, even the dog left him. Shem Erachem. So, he says, this guy, I don't want to be like him. He's scared to lose money. So all of a sudden he starts doing tshuva because he doesn't want to lose money. That's it. Not because he, heaven, hell, nothing. He just doesn't want to lose. So that's still good. But that will get the sins to turn into accidental sins. Because it's only fear. But if he does, just like the Pasuk says, but if he does a tshuva me'ahava, it's called, tshuva from loving Hashem, where it's to such an extent that he literally does everything and anything possible to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He looks for more ways to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's petrified of him, but not just of sin. He's petrified of hurting the relationship he has with him. Similar to a husband and wife. A husband, if he's a normal husband, and a wife, if she's a normal wife, they don't not hit each other because they're scared the other person's going to hit back. They're not doing it because of that. They don't not yell at each other because they're scared that the other person's going to yell back. That's not the reason. They're not going to yell at each other or hurt each other because they're scared to hurt the relationship, the connection they have. He loves us so much, he's not going to do certain things, even if he wants to. Why? Because he doesn't want to hurt the connection. He knows that if he yells at her, she's going to be offended and she's not going to want to talk to him for 3-4 hours, or maybe 3-4 days, and he can't handle that. He has to talk to her. He has to. So he wants to yell at her, but he doesn't want to. Why? Because he doesn't want to lose her for 3 days. He doesn't want to lose her for 3 hours. So that is fear. That is a fear out of love, in essence. That's the highest level of fear. You don't sin, not because you're scared only of Gehenom, it's that too, but also because you don't want to hurt the relationship you have with Hashem. And that's the beginning of actually loving Hashem. What's actually loving Hashem? Loving Hashem is, theoretically speaking, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu came to you and said, listen, I said you have to keep all the mitzvot. All of mankind has to keep mitzvot. The Jews have to keep all of the commandments from the Torah. The non-Jews have to keep the 7 Noahide laws. Also from the Torah, but less laws. Everybody that's going to do it is going to heaven. Everyone that doesn't do it is going to hell. But you have a special deal. You, whether you do it or you don't do it, you're still going to Gehenom. And you are like the Baal Shem Tov. You say, you know what, Hashem? Since I know I'm going to Gehenom anyway, but I love you, so I'm still going to serve you and fulfill all the mitzvot anyway. Why? Because I know it makes you happy. Whatever happy means to you, it makes you happy. That's serving you. I still want to be your servant, even though I'm going to get punished for it. That's loving Hashem. Rabbi Nachman in Breslev, 200 years ago, says there's almost non-existent in his generation, such people. So people talk about loving Hashem, they're living in like an imagination. It doesn't really exist. It's not common, to say the least. There are some bodedim, Gdolei Ador, big tzaddikim here and there, that got to that level, but as far as the masses, no chance in the world. Most people that are really high level are a combination of the two. So, but if somebody gets to even a combination of the two, some love, some fear, which love means love and fear, and then fear is just fear. That person can get to a point where HaKadosh Baruch Hu turns the sins that he made into mitzvot. So now, let's say he did Chuva for Shabbat. He, in the past, violated Shabbat. And now he started keeping Shabbat. In the beginning, he started keeping Shabbat by sleeping all day. Slept all day. He just didn't violate it. That's not exactly Chuva Ma'ava. That's fear. But then, he said, you know what, I want to do more. So he started doing Kiddush, started going to Beit Knesset. Okay, it's still fear, but it's better than it was. But then he said, you know what, I want to make Shabbat like it's a holiday every week. Pretty much his entire week is like Shammai, and it's like a Shammai and Hillel. From Motzei Shabbat all the way to Shabbat, they prepared for Shabbat, the whole week. On Sunday, they buy an animal, they buy a chicken or the cow, whatever they buy for Shabbat. What? But they pick the best one. But if, let's say, he saw on Wednesday a better cow or a better chicken, he bought that one. She said, yeah, but you already bought one. He goes, that one I'll eat today, but this better one I'll buy this is for Shabbat. The whole week, he only thought about Shabbat. Finally got to Shabbat. Special food, special environment, special Torah that he learned for Shabbat. He has some guests. He has Onik Shabbat. But real Shabbat, not just to wine and dine people and feed a bunch of strangers. It's full of Torah, it's full of Kedusha, it's full of Simcha. That is full Tshuva Me'ava for that Shabbat. Why? Because now you're taking the Shabbat and you're making it a holiday every week. Not to show people off your house, but to show people off your Shabbat. I only know one person that does this. I'm sure many other people do it, but I know one person that does it. Go fine. Everyone knows, Baruch Hashem, you want to see a Shabbat, how it's supposed to be, you go to Rabbi Ephraim's house. Now, Rabbi Ephraim's not rich, as far as money. But a Shabbat, you would think Bill Gates works for him. When we were at his house, we stayed by his house a couple of times. I didn't know where it ended, where it started. All I knew is that I never wanted it to end. It's just unbelievable. But everybody knew it. It's just an unbelievable environment. And alvai, we could ever get to such a point. Point being, it's possible. But that person that turns no Shabbat to Onik Shabbat to the highest level, he has guests, he has food, he has all the different beautiful things of Shabbat, where everybody pretty much leaves Shabbat sad. Why? Sad that it's over. Not, oh, Baruch Hashem, it's over, Motzei Shabbat, okay, where's the phone? Where's the phone? Where's the phone? He can't wait for the phone. He can't wait to go back to work on Monday. That kind of Shabbat, I'm not even sure it's a Shabbat. But he has the type of Shabbat that he actually feels bad for ending. Ooh, that's the best Shabbat. And that's Tshuva Me'ahava. So he didn't do Tshuva Me'ahava for everything, but he did it for that. So he could literally turn his old Shabbats into Mitzvot. And that's generally how it works. It's not like it's all or nothing. Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to give us reward, and he'll look for different places to give us the ultimate reward. Even if it's just one out of 1,000, he's still going to give us that one. So Tshuva Me'ahava works that way. And again, it's becoming an expert in one mitzvah. And that's actually one of the things the Chachamim say that every person needs to do, is pick one mitzvah to be an expert in. Know all the halachot, do it the best way possible. When you do it, celebrate, be happy. Like, this is your mitzvah. This is your mitzvah. This is the one that's it. This is your baby. You're doing everything else, but this is your baby. Some people pick the etrog. They like the etrog. Etrog that's their thing. The etrog, they're not like everybody else. They go to the local guy, pick whatever thing they have. They're not even sure if it's a lemon or it's a etrog, but as long as it's cheap, they buy it. No, some people, they go to special guy. They have a special order already ahead in advance. Listen, give me the best one. Yeah, how much is your budget? Whatever you have. Whatever you have. I know one Jew that did that one time. Tries to do it all the time, but you don't succeed all the time. One time, he went to an etrog place in New York, and looked at the etrogim, there it is. In New York, Baruch Hashem, it's not like Florida where you have to like meet somebody in some hidden office because it's like a side business. Over there, it's like actual stores, they sell the stuff. So you got different stores checking etrogim, what do you have, what do you have, what do you have? One of the stores he got to, the guy said, listen, what are you looking for? He says, I'm looking for the best one. What's your budget? He goes, whatever you want. The best kind of customer. What do you want? He goes, oh, what do you want? Like $50 one? $100 one? He goes, whatever you want. The guy's, one of the workers, like light went off. He goes, hold on one second. He went to the back, came out with his big bag. Bag opened up. He goes, come over here. Away from all the customers. Open like a safe. Mamash, like a safe. Open this thing. It's wrapped up in more wrapping. He takes out an etrog, mamash, it's like a melon. Huge Yemenite etrog. It's the best etrogim, by the way, Yemenite etrogim. Just so you know, that's the only ones we know for sure are kosher. The rest of them, you're not sure if it's a lemon or it's an etrog. If you have an opportunity to buy Yemenite etrog, buy that. But you don't have an opportunity, But anyway, Yemenite etrog, but it's huge. Some of them are really big. How much? $600. Now remember, this is useful for one day. The rest of it is, you don't have to. Like if the etrog is pasul the second day, you can still use it. But if it's pasul the first day, you can't use it. Meaning the mitzvah really is for one day. You're paying $600 to use this thing for one day. For what? How you use it? You don't eat it. What you do, you carry it to the Beit Knesset. You're carrying a football to the Beit Knesset. That's all you're doing. This guy was so excited, he said, sold. He didn't negotiate, nothing. Usually Jews negotiate. Worst thing you can do is give a Jew something and he says yes. Why? He says, why? I could have got more from him. So he says, yes, sold. The guy was so happy, takes out $600. Why was it such a big deal? Maybe the guy's a millionaire. If the guy's a millionaire, $600 is not a big deal. What's such a big deal? That was all of his money. That's all the money he had. Gave him all of his money to buy this etrog. Why am I telling you this story? Because Baruch Hu liked this mitzvah. How do I know? If you see pictures, you see that etrog for 2 years. The etrog lasted 2 years. 2 Sukkot. Now you take your etrog for $30, for $50, for $500, whatever you buy etrog. Within a month, it turns into disgusting, smelly stuff. Why? It's naturally. You take an apple, you put it on the shelf, you put it in the whatever you put it, it goes bad. Mamash, miraculously, I saw pictures myself. Same etrog, 2 years. Fresh like it just mamash came off the tree for 2 years. Almost survived the 3rd year. Unbelievable. Mamash, miracle like something. It's not normal. Not normal for a fruit to last. I mean, go try, use any preservative you want. Without putting it in the fridge, without putting anything into it. After Sukkot was over, he put it back in the foil over there. That's it, left it, forgot about it. A year later, oh yeah, you know what? Let's check what happened to this etrog. Maybe it's like a bunch of mold and bugs and I don't know, it's liquid. Surprise, now no smell. Takes it off the thing, opens the closet. Ishtabach shimo la'ad. It's perfect, like it mamash just came off the tree. Why? Kadosh Baruch Hu likes this mitzvah. Likes this mitzvah. So the point is, Rabotai, is if you become an expert in a mitzvah and you do your best in it, the Kadosh Baruch Hu will give you special siyat d'ishmaya in this mitzvah. So try to pick one this Rosh Hashanah. Next question. Anybody else or you? No offense, just want everybody to go to. Yes.
Before Rosh Hashanah,
Okay.
are we like does Hashem shed light on certain things more during this time than the rest of the year, and what we need to improve, and like what He expects us to accomplish before the year ends and have ready for next year?
There is a concept in Judaism called cheshbon nefesh. Cheshbon nefesh means self-accounting. To account, do an accounting of your own sins, your own mitzvot. In essence, try to judge yourself. Now, naturally, every person that's not living in some illusion and is mentally stable, within 3 to 5 seconds, knows at least a handful of things they're doing wrong. If they know a little bit of Torah, they don't need to be a big chacham. They just learn Parashat Shavua. They came to 5, 10 shiurim. Better yet, they just listened to one shiur, one of our shiurim, for 2 hours and actually paid attention without playing with their phone. They already know they finished that shiur. There's at least 2, 3, 4 things they're doing wrong, and they have to do Chuva for it. Every person is like this. You guys think that I'm sitting over here and you're sitting over there, and I'm like the tzaddik, and you guys are the reshaim, chas v'shalom. It's not. 99% of the lecture is to myself. 1% is like to somebody that exists maybe online. I don't know. Maybe you guys are tzaddikim. How do I know? So, all of the things we talk about in the lecture, it's things that we all have to work on. Now, a person listens to a shiur, reads a book of emet. Within a few seconds, he realizes, okay, check, but it's not really check. It's like an X. But you don't want to put an X on yourself, so you put check. I'm a sinner here, sinner here, sinner here, sinner here. You have to work on it. So anybody that does a little bit of self-accounting knows, okay, I have a few things to work on. The rabbi mentioned gava. Pride is disgusting to Hashem. Okay, sometimes I'm prideful. Why? Whenever somebody cuts me off, I lose my mind. That's pride. Whenever somebody, talks to me a certain way, I lose my mind. That's pride. Whenever, somebody tells me what to do, I don't like it. That's pride. And so on and so forth. When they didn't agree to my terms of the deal, I just canceled the whole deal. That's pride. Whenever she tells me to go take out the garbage, I don't want to. That's pride. Because I don't think I'm a garbage man, like as if I'm better than a garbage man. That's pride. So Hashem is disgusted by pride. So already everybody here is victim, is guilty of it to some extent. Some more, some less. Every shiur has that. So everybody that's going to do self-accounting, within a few seconds, they know they're guilty of a few things. Pick one. Don't pick all of them. Don't be al tiyeh tzaddik harbe. Don't be overly righteous. You pick all of them, you'll end up failing at everything. Pick one. Pick one thing you know for sure you're failing at. And say, this is the one I'm going to do Chuva in, and I'm going to become an expert in it. You pick one. And you start learning about it and working on it and doing everything possible to do Chuva for this. After you're going on for a little while on this one thing, then you start picking up some other stuff too. To a smaller extent, but this one still stays your baby. And little by little you get better with it, and you get some strength with it, you become good at it. Then you start some other big one. But the point is, you have to pick one. Don't pick everything. Don't pick, unless it's the obvious stuff. Like, if you're driving on Shabbat, eating pork, and you're into marriage, you don't really have that kind of time. You could just pick one. These are certain things you have to just simply stop. But there are things that it's going to take time to work on, which is usually character traits. Either way, you have to pick one big one. Start working on it little by little. Learn more and more about it. Become an expert in it. And if you show up to Rosh Hashanah with that type of mindset, you'll be judged favorably. How do I know? Does anybody know here why we have the mitzvah of Shofar? Now you guys have all gone to Beit Knesset for Rosh Hashanah, I'm assuming, right? It's not, you guys have all been to Beit Knesset, right? You went to Beit Knesset, you heard the Shofar. Some people even own Shofar in their house. They like to do, everybody likes to blow Shofar. It's kind of hard. But it's fun. Now, most people don't really know why we even blow Shofar. How come we don't blow like a horn? It's easier. Why don't we have like a nice piano? Play some Bach or Beethoven at the end of Rosh Hashanah. Why not? How come it's a shofar? It's an animal. No? Who has something? Chavod?
I heard it weakens the Satan.
Zak. That's what the Gemara says in Rosh Hashanah, page 16a.
Why?
That's the big question. Why does it weaken the Satan? What does it have to do with the Satan? All it is, I should have brought my shofar. I just got a shofar. And it's amazing that this thing, piece of an animal, actually has so much, if used effectively, has the power of 1,000,000 atomic bombs. Has the power to change nature, if used the right way. Or it could simply be something on your shelf. Either nothing, or something unbelievable. What is it? It's a horn, it's an animal, that's it. What's the... Some are the long ones, some are the short ones, but they all have the same power. Or same uselessness, whatever you want. You can either look at it every time you go to a Judaica store and it looks cool, but you don't really feel like paying $500 for it. So you just go to visit the Judaica store just to look at it for free. Or you, for one day, just you have a good day at work and you buy it for no reason. You just tell people you have a shofar. But in reality, you don't really know that this thing is like 1,000,000 atomic bombs. How? One time, there was a guy that was a tokea in the Beit Knesset. He was the guy that would do it every year. He's good at it. And he did it for years. But one day he got into some financial troubles, lost some money, got to some problems. The prayer to Hashem did not work. And he decided to go to the religion of love. Religion of love and inquisitions and holocausts also. But Christianity. Why? Because in Christianity they pay you. They pay you to convert to Christianity. They pay you in Christianity to come. The Christians, Yimach Shemam, the missionaries, they spend over $300 million a year just to convert Israelis in Eretz Yisrael alone. We're not talking about the rest of the world. The rest of the world is billions. In Eretz Yisrael alone, $300 million a year to convert Jews to Christianity, to idol worship. They have 8 billion people in the world, but they want to mess with the few million that we have. Mamash, Satan himself. Now, one of the ways they do it, they give people money for years. In the old days, they also killed them too. Today, not so much. Today, just give money. So this guy had some problems and figured, you know what, let me go to the religion of love that pays some money too. But it wasn't enough for him. He wanted to stay he wanted the kabod of being the Baal Tokea too. He wants to blow the shofar every year also. So he went to the Beit Knesset. He goes, I want to make sure I still have my position at the Beit Knesset for Rosh Hashanah to blow the shofar. Rabbi says, what? You're mumar, you. Anybody that converts to Christianity is called mumar. Somebody that's heretic, you can't count him minyan, you can't, unless he does Chuva, Gehinom permanently. You're mumar, you convert to Christianity, you abandon the Kadosh Baruch Hu. What are you talking about? You're going to blow shofar for the rest of us? Now this guy was Rasha Miktsoi, like he's a professional Rasha. It wasn't enough for him to get it. No, where did he go? He went to the king. Went to the king, goes, listen, Your Highness, can you believe it? The Jews are not letting me my old job. I had this job already for 20 years. I want my job. He goes, what's your job? He goes, I'm a Baal Tokea. He goes, what's that? I blow the horn for the Jews. He goes, okay, so what's the problem? He goes, no, they fired me. He goes, okay, so they fired you. They fired somebody else. He goes, no, Your Highness, you know why they fired me? Because I became like you. I became a Christian like you. The king said, what? They fired you because you became a Christian? I'll come. King, Yimach Shimo, comes over there. Okay, we're going to take care of the Jews. They don't give you a job, I'm going to slaughter all of them. You know, the Goyim, Esav Sonei LeYaakov, it's halacha. They look for a reason to kill us. People think that anti-Semitism is like theoretical. It's a reality. Right now, there was a video that just came out a couple of days ago. Anti-Semitism in America has gone up over 40% in the last year. It was already 40% of Americans admitted to be anti-Semitic. Now we're talking about probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 65% of Americans admit to be anti-Semitic. They're already starting to kill people in the streets. In some places, in New York, every other day somebody gets thrown a rock, gets beat up. All types of horrible things are happening. People are living in illusion. They think that everything is good now. But anyway, he brings the king to the Jews. Says, "Listen, you got to give him his job back." So the rabbi is smart. He goes, "Listen, we can't mess with the king. The guy you can mess. You'd say no, but the king came. You say no to the king, he kills everybody." But the rabbi, Tamid Chacham, says, "Your Highness, you must know, with your wisdom, what's the most important day of the year for the Jews?" So the king says, "Oh, well, of course, it's your Yom Kippur." So the rabbi says, "Exactly, Your Highness. That's what we're going to do. Because of you, we're going to give him the mitzvah of blowing the shofar on Yom Kippur for the Kehillah." King is happy. "Thank you very much for honoring me. Chavod." But the Rasha, the Mumar, said, hey, no, that's not good. Your Highness, they're tricking us here. He goes, "What do you want?" He goes, "Yeah, you blow the shofar on Yom Kippur, but it's not even an obligation. It's a minhag. It's a minhag to blow the shofar on Yom Kippur. It's not an obligation. The real obligation is on Rosh Hashanah." The king says, "You're still complaining? They're giving you the biggest day, you're still complaining? More important day, less important day, get out of here already." The king kicked him out already. Point being, Rabotai, is that shofar is a big deal in Judaism. Why? Because the Kadosh Baruch Hu himself says that the shofar is a big deal. But why? Why is it a big deal? Now, as our dear friend says, the Gemara in Masechet Rosh Hashanah, page 16a and also 16b, goes into a whole debate, a whole sugya about the significance of shofar. It says, why do you blow a shofar? It says, what do you mean, why you blow a shofar? Rachmana said, blow a shofar. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, the merciful one said, blow a shofar in the Torah. Pasuk in the Torah says you must blow a shofar. Says, but why are you blowing shofar? So it says, look, it says this is something special to Hashem, because the shofar is something that confuses the Satan. Confuses Satan. Satan is full of eyes. 6,000 years old. He's confused by a horn from an animal. Why is he confused? So then the Tehillim, David HaMelech says in Tehillim 89, verse 16, "Ashrei ha'am yod'ei teruah, Adonai ba'or panecha yalechun." That it says, praiseworthy is the nation that knows the teruah. Torah is one of the is the main thing. That's the Torah. Praiseworthy is the nation that knows the Torah. That's Am Yisrael. Why? Because it's symbolic that they're going with Hashem. They're going in the way of Hashem. So the Midrash Rabbah, Vayikra Rabbah, Parashat Emor, in Parashat 29 or Dalit, Rabbi Yoshaya says, why is David HaMelech saying praiseworthy is the nation, meaning Am Yisrael, that knows how to blow Torah, blow a shofar? What? The other nations don't know how to blow a shofar? What? The other nations don't have musical instruments too? What's the big deal? They brought a boot, a few tries, you do it. Everybody does it. They have violins, they have all types of things. David HaMelech took a pasuk in the Torah and decided it's so important that they're praiseworthy, that they know how to blow shofar. Everybody knows how to blow shofar also. So Rabbi Yoshaya says, it's not that they know and they don't know. There must be some goyim that know how to blow a shofar. But only Am Yisrael knows how to use the Torah to entice their Creator to rise from His throne of judgment and move and sit on His throne of mercy instead. On the 7th month, on Rosh HaShanah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is sitting on His throne of judgment, says guilty, punished, guilty, punished, guilty, punished. And now, because of the shofar, He gets up out of this throne to go and sit on His throne of mercy. Says, yeah, He did it, but look, He's doing better now. So forgive Him, let Him go. Yeah, but He did it. Yeah, He did it, but He's trying better now. Let it go. He's innocent. Give Him more time. And it all comes from the shofar. Why does the shofar have such significance? The shofar comes from the word leshaper. Leshaper means to improve. Now the same Midrash Rabbah, Parashat Emor, says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Am Yisrael, just like you improved your actions, shipartem, by the time you came to blow the shofar, you didn't just blow the shofar and did nothing too, and instead went home and barbecue on Shabbat. No, you prepared the slichot, you went to the shiurim, you already chatanu avinu pashanu. When you prayed, you didn't just pray and just read the words, but you were thinking about baseball and basketball and your business. You're already doing tshuva already for a while, you're working on yourself, and you're saying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, listen, in reality, we're losers. That's the reality. It's difficult to keep Shabbat. It's difficult to eat kosher. It's difficult to watch your eyes. It's difficult to do all these things. It's difficult for me to do tshuva. Honestly, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I don't deserve anything. And I'm crying to you. I'm crying to you to please help me. The shofar is a cry. The three types of tkiyot from the shofar are three symbolic sounds that sound like crying. The tkiyah, the tu, that's like, ah! Please, Hashem, I don't have even words to say, I'm so guilty. The shvarim, that's like, And the that's pretty much hysterical crying. Somebody just died. That's our tuot. The shofar is symbolic of us crying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And when you cry to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you can't even talk. So you say, Hashem, I'm guilty, I'm so guilty, I have nothing to say for myself. I can't even talk, so I'm just crying, and this is the shofar sound. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to us, that's tshuva. If you've been preparing yourself in the whole month already, you're crying to me on a regular basis, you're working on yourself, you know that you're failing, but you're going to try better. You promise to try better. You're not guaranteeing, but But you're going to try. You're doing something about it. You know that you don't know all the halachot of Shabbat. So what do? You say, Hashem, I'm going to start learning halachot Shabbat. And Be'ezrat Hashem, eventually I'll know them and I'll keep Shabbat appropriately. You know that wasting seed is an addiction for you. So you say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, listen, it's hard for me to stop overnight, but at least I'm going to stop watching all this pornography. I'm going to stop looking at every girl that moves. I'm going to stop going on the internet on websites that I'm not allowed to. I'm going to stop watching TV. I'm going to watch my eyes at least. I'm going to do the best that I can, so at least I'm not causing myself to do it. I'm going to do something about it. You know that your job is illegal. You're in a cash advance business, or you sell illegal goods, or you bait and switch and you cheat people. You say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I don't know how I'm going to pay the bills, but all I know is that you don't like what I'm doing, so I quit. I quit. I'm not working in this business anymore. Why? I don't want to cheat anymore. Why? Because then you hate it. You know that you don't know enough. You say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, listen, I can't become an avrech overnight. I can't go learn 8, 10, 12 hours a day. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, for sure, I could do 15 minutes a day. Just like I need to eat and breathe every day, I need to learn Torah at least 15 minutes a day and gradually go up. But you make a commitment that from now on, I'm learning every day. No matter what, even if an atomic bomb, chas v'shalom, comes, I'm still getting my 15 minutes. After I did that for a little while, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, 15 minutes, now you go up to a half hour. Then a half hour a day, then it's an hour. Whenever you get a chance, you can do more. You come to Shiur for 2 hours, you listen to the whole Shiur 2 hours, but you don't take the 2 hours and spread it the whole week. It's every day. Why? Because you say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you said, V'yigita bo yomam v'layla, I have to learn Torah, yom v'layla, morning and night. I can't do all of it, but I'm going to try. Why? By making a commitment to learn Torah every day. A little bit. I'm going to watch a Shiur, I'm going to watch a clip, and so on and so forth. I'm going to go to Be'ezratHashem.org to go. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I've been stingy my whole life. And anytime I gave tzedakah, I only gave tzedakah for honor. So what am I going to do, Hashem? From now on, just like I have the auto pay for my phone bill, AT&T deducts $100, $200 from me automatically every year, every month, and the cable takes money, and this one takes money, and everybody takes money from me, and the car takes money. You know what, HaKadosh Baruch Hu? Because you like it. Not because I understand. Because you like it, from now on, I'm going to take maaser, send it to Be'ezratHashem.org so they can help people do Chuva. Send it to a real Kiruv organization that's going to help people do Chuva automatically, without thinking about it twice. Meaning, I'm not saying I'm going to give all my savings, no, that I'm not. I like my savings. What I'm going to do, I'm going to try from now. Point is, you come to HaKadosh Baruch Hu on Rosh HaShanah with something in your hands, other than just sins. You've tried, and by the time you get to the tefillah, you're crying to HaKadosh Baruch Hu because you understand how hard it is to do tshuva. But you still want HaKadosh Baruch Hu to forgive you. You still want HaKadosh Baruch Hu to give you a much better year than the last one. You still want to live. You know nobody wants to die if they're normal. Rav Friedlander, alav hashalom, when he got the machala, he got the cancer, he told his Talmidim, bring me to the yeshiva, in the bed, right before Rosh Hashanah. So, Kvod Rav, why? So I want to show the Talmidim that's what they're praying for. They're praying so they don't end up being the same way. Why? You're healthy now, you think you're going to be healthy tomorrow? You're alive now, you think you're going to be alive tomorrow? Who guaranteed you that? Who promised you tomorrow? You have money today, you think you have money tomorrow? All these different people are making a lot of money on nothing today. Most people in reality work a lot less hard than they did in the past. People are making millions off of nothing. Off of nothing. A guy decides that he's going to start opening a website on Amazon. He starts selling, something. Ends up, somebody likes it. He's selling little, MP3 players or glasses or whatever. It hits. All of a sudden, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a week goes into his account. He thinks he's a genius now. He forgets it's a Kadosh Baruch Hu. He barely does. All day he's drinking beer and watching TV. He thinks he's a genius of the world because he's making money. Other people do a few trades. They got lucky with one option. They bought for $1,000, turned into $1 million. They think they're geniuses. They're the next Warren Buffett. They think it's them. They forget it's a Kadosh Baruch Hu. All types of people, they invent something. One guy I know invented a certain type of saw, plier or something. He sold it to a big company for almost $55 million. It took him $55 to make it. He sold it for $55 million. Thought he was a genius. People are making a fortune off of nothing because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving people a chance to do mitzvot. But they forget HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They forget HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They don't use it for that. Because they think they're going to have it tomorrow, and then you hear or you see them in the news. They lost everything. Or they died. Or there was a lawsuit. All of a sudden it's not really theirs. Their dream turned into a nightmare. The guy won the lotto, but he committed suicide. You know how many of those that happen? People win hundreds of millions of dollars, but then they call it the biggest curse that happened in their life. It's a known thing. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives everybody a chance, and He's giving everyone many, many chances. But they don't use it the right way. They don't realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu can take all of it, all of the blessings, and turn them into curses. So when a person does real tshuva, he says, you know what, listen, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I can't do all of it. I'm failing constantly. But I promise one thing. I'm going to try. But don't say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm going to try. Like you tell the rabbi, I'm going to try to come, but you don't end up coming for 6 months. I'm going to try. I'm going to come to the lecture. Bli neder. Bli neder is pretty much no nicely. A religious no. It's a religious no. It's a no with a keep on. Bli neder, I'm going to come. Bli neder, I'm going to come. That's like pretty much, I'm not coming, but you have a keep on, so maybe payas. Bli neder. Don't do that to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Oh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm gonna try bli neder. I'm gonna try to watch my eyes, and then 5 minutes later you're watching some website. Hashem Yachem. No, if you do real tshuva, you say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, listen, I'm a loser. I'm failing, and really, you should convict me. I'm guilty. I can't deny the sins that I made. You know everything that I made, even more than I know, because I don't even know all the sins. I'm so illiterate in Torah, I honestly don't even know all the sins that I made, because I don't even know some of the stuff is even sins. So in reality, I'm guilty and you should charge me. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're my father after all. Please, give me another chance. Based on what? Based on the promise that I'm going to try to do better. But not just with words. I took some actions to show you I'm serious. This last month, this last day, this last week, whatever it is, I've been praying to you. I've been learning. I've been changing different things in my life. I left the goya. I left the goy. I left the job. I left the sin. I stopped eating pork. I threw it all in the garbage. I did something. And I promised to stick with it. And then the Midrash Rabbah says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to us, He says to Am Yisrael, He says to all of the Baalei Tshuva, which is everyone that is considered religious. Whether you were born with a hat or without is irrelevant. It doesn't make you religious. If you're religious, that means you're about tshuva every day. Especially on Rosh HaShanah. And the Midrash Rabbah says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Am Yisrael, just like you improved your actions, shipartem et ma'asechem, I will improve your judgment by rising from my throne of judgment and sitting on the throne of mercy. And this is why, Rabotai, if you notice, on Rosh Hashanah, you're going to see that when the guy starts blowing the shofar, initially he's sitting down, and then he's standing up. And the Gemara says, why is he sitting down and then he's standing up? Why are we sitting down and then we're standing up? We're sitting down, then it says, no, guys, okay, I'm blowing the shofar again, and stand up this time. But why? If it was okay for us to sit, let us sit. He goes, no, the shofar is a representation of someone that's a mishtaper, someone that's improving their actions, someone that's committed to doing tshuva. In order for Hashem to be committed to improve our judgment, and just like Hashem rises from his chair of judgment and then sits on the chair of mercy, we rise like HaKadosh Baruch Hu rises, and then we sit like HaKadosh Baruch Hu sits. In essence, we're all in the same courtroom together. And that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu expects from us. Now, how do we know that real tshuva is always accepted? If we go to okay, thank you. If we go to the Book of Chronicles, chapter 33, Chronicles 2, chapter 33, it talks about one of the kings of Israel, time of the Beit HaMikdash. It says his name was Menashe. Menashe was the son of Chizkiyahu. Chizkiyahu was Kodesh Kodashim. So much so that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to make a Mashiach. Oh, there's a pasuk in the Torah that says HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to make a Mashiach, but then the Mekatrek, the Satan, came and convinced Hashem otherwise. Because of one tiny little slip up. In his level, it was big. In our level, it's not even a sin. One tiny slip up, and Mashiach didn't come. Mamash, we were literally 1 second away from Mashiach coming. Several times throughout history. No Holocaust, no Inquisition, no nothing. One little slip up. Didn't sanctify Kadosh Baruch Hu's name one time. Chizkiyahu Melech was so holy, the Gemara in Moed Katan says, when they buried him with a Sefer Torah. You're not allowed to do that. But Chizkiyahu was so holy, they said it's the same thing. The Sefer Torah and Chizkiyahu, it's both Sefer Torah. But after that, not allowed. Why? Nobody is that holy. But Chizkiyahu is that holy. Sefer Torah. Mamash. But his son, Rasha Merusha, Menashe. So much so, Torah says, this Menashe was the king after Chizkiyahu. He did what was evil in the eyes of Hashem, like the abomination of the nations that Hashem had driven out before the children of Israel. He rebuilt the high places that his father Chizkiyahu had broken. All of the Avodah Zarah that his father destroyed, he rebuilt it. He brought Avodah Zarah everywhere. It also says, in the Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin, everywhere he saw the name of Hashem, he erased it. You're not allowed to erase Hashem's name. He erased it everywhere he could. He committed incest. He committed murder. He murdered the Gedol Ador, his grandfather, Yeshayahu, Isaiah, the whole book of Isaiah, it's his grandfather. He murdered him, cut him to pieces. Murder, rape, incest, idolatry, every sin you can possibly imagine. But then it says, in verse number 10, that Hashem spoke to Menashe and his people, but they didn't listen. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu took the next step. Says, so Hashem brought against them the officers of the king of Assyria's army, and they captured Menashe with hunting hooks, and bound him to chains and led him off to Babylonia. They took Menashe, they put him in a huge pot, and they started cooking him in Iraq, in Babylon. Started cooking him, started to eat him. They were cannibals. Initially, Gemara says that Menashe started praying to his idols. Buddha, Baba, all the stuff. J.C. Penney, everything you want. Idols don't talk. They have mouths but they don't speak. They have eyes but they can't see. They have ears but they can't hear. Nothing. They can't do nothing. He tried every idol in the book, didn't work. And then it says, but in his distress, he beseeched Hashem his God. And he humbled himself greatly before God of his fathers. And he prayed to him, and he was entreated by him, and heard his supplications. And he returned to Jerusalem, to his kingship. And then Menashe realized that Hashem is God. What happened here? Menashe, after committing all the crimes in the world, prayed to the idols. It didn't answer. So then he says, you know what? Hashem, if you're really there, if you really exist, you're going to save me right now. If not, you're nothing. All of the malachim shut their gates. Says this chutzpan, menuval, despicable, rude person, Rasha Merusha, that made every sin in the world, Now he wants to, what? Do tshuva but give Hashem conditions? Like, if you answer my prayers now, then you're okay. If not, you're nothing. None of the angels wanted to have his prayers go to Hashem. But Menashe meant seriously. His heart broke. He humbled himself. He became nothing. He knew this is his only chance. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered him himself. When you break your heart for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you humble yourself, and you realize you're wrong, and you're committed to change, Hashem says your prayer will always be accepted. Even when all the traditional ways don't work, you cry. By committing to become better, I'll accept your prayer. You commit to be better. That's why many times you see certain miracles that have happened to certain people. Many famous rabbis have this even televised. A woman had no ability to have kids. She comes to a lecture, the rabbi tells her, put kisui loshan. Put kisui loshan, keep mitzvot, you can have a kid. She goes, what do you mean? What, just putting this piece of towel on my head and keep a couple of mitzvot, that's going to change my body? The doctor said there's zero chance of having kids. He says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says otherwise. They do it, they come back a year later with a little baby. I've seen it with my own eyes. I had a couple come to me, said they've been married for 5 years. 5 years they're married, no kids, trying, no kids, doesn't work. Doctor said nothing. I said, okay, let's do this one mitzvah. What mitzvah? Let's follow the halacha, do chuppah and kiddushin, keep Shabbat. Because what? So I'm going to sleep all day on Shabbat, maybe eat some chulent, and then I'm going to have a couple of guys sit there in my chuppah, say amen, the rabbi is going to bless us, that's going to change my body, that's going to change my wife's body, all of a sudden we're going to have kids. I said, listen, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to do it, you do it. Your wife's going to go to mikveh? What, to go in a pool? That's going to change her body? To go in a pool? She can go to the pool right now. I said, no, not the pool. You go to mikveh. At the time of the month, she is allowed to go to mikveh. Okay, so she goes to a pool. They don't understand, so they call the pool. And we sleep all day and eat some chulent on Shabbat and just don't drive. And what else? You put the little mitpachat or something? You put this towel on your head? That's all going to change our body? All of a sudden we're going to have kids? What is this, magic? I said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Okay. Tamim tiyem Hashem. You want to do it? Let's try it. 10 months later, right after the wedding, chuppah kiddushin, 10 months later, little baby. 9 months later. Chuppah kiddushin, baby. On the day they got married, worked. Why? Because Baruch Hu said it's going to work. But the doctor said no. Who's the doctor? Who's the doctor? Who's the doctor? Who is he? Make to call the shots? You know how many miracles you see every single day? You do what HaKadosh Baruch Hu says. You cry to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you commit to do better. Commit to do better. Countless things you see every single day. That's tshuva, Rabotai. Menashe did tshuva, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu accepted him to such an extent that when he cried to HaKadosh Baruch Hu took that huge pot that he was boiling in and miraculously made it fly in the air. And it flew all the way from Iraq, from Babylon, all the way to Yerushalayim. It was the first UFO. That's what happened. That's what it says. How are you going to leave all these terrorists trying to kill you, eat you? How are you going to leave? You tell my guys, listen, I'm not kosher. Don't eat me. What happened? Torah says, Mamash, HaKadosh Baruch Hu answered his prayers. He took this pot, it flew all the way to Yerushalayim. Landed back in his castle, protected all of his sergeant and everything, but all of a sudden he's a tzaddik. Why? He says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is God. Who else could have done what just happened? He became a big kiruv personality, made everybody start doing tshuva. Unfortunately, his son, Amon never did tshuva, became a bigger rasha than he used to be. And because he didn't want to do tshuva, Amon, he did not humble himself before Hashem, as his father Menashe had humbled himself. For he, Amon, incurred much guilt. Eventually, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, you're out of time. And his servants conspired against him and killed him in his own palace. Amon's pride did not allow him to do tshuva, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu killed him with his own gava. How? All of the people that used to work for him and say, yes sir, yes sir, yes your highness, yes your highness, they ended up cutting him into pieces. Gavat adam tashpilenu. The pride of man leads to his fall. His father humbled himself, said, I'm wrong, I'm going to do tshuva. So this is why, Rabotai, the shofar is not something that we can replace with a horn of some kind, or some sound, some digital sound like the Reform people do and other religions do. Shofar is symbolic. It's not just the horn or just the sound. Every little bit of the Torah has a significant meaning. Now, the real zealous among us fought for the shofar, fought for the mitzvot. I'll give you an example. You guys have heard of the Anusim? The Anusim, the Spanish Inquisition? You heard of it, right? During the time of the Spanish Inquisition, there was tzaddikim in the world that fought for every mitzvah. But unfortunately, they were at a time, not like us, Baruch Hashem, that we can do mitzvot whenever we feel like it. Them, if they were caught doing a mitzvah, they get killed in the middle of the street. So they did everything they could underground. They would make matzot underground. They had tunnels underground to make matzot for Pesach, pray on the ground, all types of things. But now there's a problem. Why? Rosh HaShanah, there's a mitzvah from the Torah to listen and blow the horn. Blow the shofar. But how are we going to do it and the goyim not catch us? Because even if you blow it down underground, there's a sound. And it's not like the shofar is not like, dude, that's finished. It's 100 trot. Goes on for a while. Something's going to happen. How are we going to do it? Everybody got their money together. All these Anusim Jews, all these tzaddikim, what do? Everybody got their money together. They came to the goyim, say, we have a special event for you. We're going to have a concert. We're going to have a concert, an orchestra, the best musicians in all of Portugal and Spain and so on. We'll have a concert. When? On Rosh HaShanah. All the goyim, all the Christians are happy as can be. Wow, look, see, finally these Jews are learning how to honor us. We have a concert. All of the important, self-proclaimed important, idol worshippers go to this concert in Rosh Hashanah. But then there is the main event. The last thing is the best musician of all is a Jew. But he has the last 2 minutes. He has the last 2 minutes of the concert. The concert goes on for a while. The Jews during this time, they're all praying on the ground. Nobody's bothering them. But then there's the last 2 minutes. Last 2 minutes, this Jew that's a famous musician. All this balagan is for him. But he comes with a new tool. Nobody ever seen this tool before. What is it? Shofar. All of a sudden, the last 2 minutes to finish the performance. Toot! 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 All the Jews are listening to it. Why? That's their Torah. That's the last mitzvah Rosh Hashanah. Shana Tova, Shana Tova. All the goyim thinks it's music. Oh wow, this is new. Wow, really innovative. Wow, ooh, ah. They don't know. All the Jews just fulfill the mitzvah Rosh Hashanah. All the Jews. But that's how much we fought for the shofar. That's how much we fought for the mitzvot of the shofar. That's how much we fought for HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mercy. We want HaKadosh Baruch Hu to rise from his throne of judgment and sit on the throne of mercy. Now, the last thing that a person wants to do is be nonchalant. Simply careless. Like, I'm okay. I went to Beit Knesset, I prayed for a few hours, I even donated some money, and that's it. And the reason why is because a person that says Shalom Yeli, the parasha right before Rosh Hashanah, this week's parasha, says that a person that says, I'm okay, I'll just do whatever I can, whenever I feel like it, and so on, says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't forgive him. Now the Mishnah in Masechet Yoma, Perik Chet, Mishnah number 9, says, האומר אכתב ואשוב, אכתב ואשוב, אין מספיקים בידו לעשות תשובה. אכתב יום הכיפורים מכפר, אין יום הכיפורים מכפר. Someone that says, fine, I'll do my best, but I'm going to go back to my sins. I'll do tshuva today for Rosh Hashanah, but next week I'm going back to the illegal business. Next week I'm going back with the Goya. Next week I'm going back to the nightclubs. Next week I'm going back to the mixed beach, to the mixed dance parties, all that stuff. I'm not really doing tshuva. But everything's going to be okay. Why? Because we have Rosh Hashanah. It's not Rosh Hashanah, we have Yom Kippur. It says Yom Kippur, HaKadosh Baruch Hu forgives everybody, right? Mishnah says, no, it doesn't forgive everybody. If a person says, I'm going to sin, but then I'll do tshuva. I'm going to sin, but then I'll do tshuva. Like, I'm going to sin with her, but then I'm going to go back and do tshuva. Say, I'm sorry, Hashem. I'm going to sin, then go back to Hashem. It says in the Mishnah here, not only is this tshuva during, it's nonsense, but even Yom Kippurim does not help him. Even praise on Yom Kippur doesn't help him. Yeah, but it helps everybody else. Yes, everybody else except him. If you're not committed to change, Yom Kippur is another day for you. If you're going to continue sinning things that you know are sins, you're going to continue violating Shabbat, you continue being intermarried, you're going to continue eating pork, you continue doing all these different things, illegal things according to the Torah, and you're not committing to change them. Yom Kippur is another day for you. It's not going to help you. You could donate $1 million. It's not going to help you. You could pray there. Some people go on Yom Kippur, they become malachim. They start wearing white. They think they're a dove. They go to Yom Kippur, they have a little dove outfit, they're all white. Before Yom Kippur, they dip in their pool, they think it's a mikveh. Or they go to the beach, nude beach, but they think it's a mikveh over there. Like, no, I'm clean. They stay in the shul the whole time. You see this guy, where were you all year? All year I never seen you, but Yom Kippur, Baruch Hashem, you're here for 25 hours. You didn't leave the shul. He goes, no, I slept in the shul. I'm here the whole time. He doesn't even take a break like everybody else. He thinks he's good. Why? He thinks he's going to pray for 25 hours, and he can go back to do whatever he wants. Mishnah says, if you're not committing to change, you're not committing to improve yourself, you're not committing to stop sinning, and to do something about it, your 25 hours of being in the shul, your mikveh, your white outfit, your whatever you did, your Shana Tova, your Shana whatever you said, all of it goes directly into the deleted box. You know, deleted box? On your computer, it goes, you put delete, and there's a garbage pail on your screen. That's where it goes. It goes there. It's completely useless. Why? Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't need you to fast. Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't need your white outfit. Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't need your 25 hours of prayers. What is he asking for? He's asking for your heart. He's asking for you to do tshuva. That's the whole point. That's the whole point of Judgment Day. But if you think everything's okay, shalom yeli, peace will be upon me, everything's okay, you do your thing, I'll do my thing, Hashem understands me type of mentality, that type of person is a danger to himself. That's a person that's a danger to himself. So it's most critical thing for a person to do is to understand that they have to do something. Hashem is not expecting us to become Moshe Rabbeinu and Sarah Imenu overnight, but we have to do something. Commit to some type of change. Commit to using our money ethically. Committing to making money ethically. Committing to, working on our midot. Committing to learning regularly. Committing to doing something and improving our life, but something serious. Don't just say, listen, Hashem, every time I see a homeless guy, I'm going to give him $5. That's not tshuva. It's nice, it's a mitzvah, and I'm sure the homeless guy is going to be happy, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's not tshuva. Tshuva means you're going to change your life. That's the point. That's the point of the shofar. And shofar sounds are symbolic of us crying. So in essence, what is this? What is the summary of everything we just said? Your tshuva has to be in a way where pretty much it's hard, and you're committing to your hardship, and you're crying about it. You're crying to Hashem to forgive you, even though technically you don't deserve it, based on the promise that it'll be worth it for Hashem to forgive you because you're going to change. So you're crying to convince him you're going to change. That's the whole point of this whole shofar. That's the point. Now, there's a couple of questions that I have here. First question is, can a kosher Jew be in a business partnership for a non-kosher restaurant? What is the halakha and the source? Yes and no. Yes and no is the answer. How is it yes and no? A Jew is forbidden from benefiting from food that's milk and meat. It says in the Torah 3 times, the same verse, that you're not allowed to eat milk and meat. You're not, and it says it 3 times because you're not allowed to eat it, you're not allowed to sell it, you're not allowed to cook it. So if a Jew sells milk and meat, it's forbidden. So that's the no part. He's not allowed to benefit out of selling this non-kosher food if it's milk and meat. But can he own the place? And the answer is yes. So how could it be yes and no at the same time? If he owns the place, or he owns shares in the company, but he doesn't go there, he's simply a silent partner. He doesn't go there. No one knows he owns it unless they look for it in some papers and corporate papers and so on. But he owns it. He owns shares in a company that sells all types of non-kosher food. He owns stock in it, or he owns the business, or he owns the building, but he never goes there. Simply they send him a check home, or they send it in a computer. He's not there. He's a silent partner. Once a year they send him some profits, whatever it is, he's allowed to own it. He's allowed to have shares in this thing. But if he's going to work there, or even show up at the place once in a while, it's 100% forbidden. One, it's forbidden to work there because he'll be directly benefiting out of actually selling itself. But it's also forbidden even if he shows up once in a while, or even if his name is on the door. And the reason is different. What's the reason? Chilul Hashem. Desecration of Hashem's name. If a Jew with a kippah comes to a restaurant, non-kosher, McDonald's or something like that, everybody's saying, oh, so see, Jews are all fakers. With the kippah, they eat cheeseburgers. So it's a desecration of Hashem's name. But if he just gives $2-3 million to some guy to run a McDonald's partnership, technically he's allowed to. But nonetheless, he still shouldn't. Even though he's allowed to give the $3, $4, $5 million to go buy some non-kosher franchise, he still shouldn't. Why? Because there are plenty of ways to make money in a kosher way 100%. Why do you need to involve yourself in something that's not kosher? Because technically, some of your customers, you cannot ask the customer, listen, do you want cheese on that or not? Oh, and by the way, are you Jewish? That cannot be, fries, cheese, are you Jewish? That can't be one of the questions. Which means that at some point, a Jew that's ignorant of the law is going to come to this McDonald's or this steak shop and is going to eat your food. And technically you benefited out of it. You enabled him, you allowed him, you helped him even violate Hashem's word. Why do you even want a piece of that? Why do you want a piece of that? You think there's going to be bracha in such a business? One time a guy came to me and says, listen, I want to give a lot of money to Kiruv. Somebody told me this guy's worth $100 million. And he donated nothing in the end. He was really, really excited to donate, and donate nothing. So when somebody asked me, oh, so that guy ever do something? I said, no, he never donated. He goes, yeah, he's really rich. I said, okay, he's really rich, but really poor at the same time, I guess. Because he doesn't have the merit to donate to Kiruv. You have to have merit to donate to Kiruv. Hashem doesn't allow just anybody to do it. Because he says, Im totzia karmi zolel ki pitiye. If you make somebody that's a lugger, that's a sinner, into someone precious, someone that's about Chuva, you'll be like my mouth. Meaning, just like a Kadosh Baruch Hu says something and it comes to life, you'll be the same thing. You'll pray for something, Hashem is going to make it happen. Why? Because you are, in essence, are creating these neshamot that are doing Chuva. They used to be sinners, going to Gehenom, but now they're going to Gan Eden because you helped them do Chuva. Because you gave that $100 or that 100,000 or the 100 million, whatever you gave, that helped somebody do Chuva. In essence, your prayers get VIP treatment. Chazal says to such an extent, you become a partner with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You're like him. Now, Hashem doesn't want to give this privilege to just anybody with money. That person has to have merit. in order for Hashem to give him this privilege, this VIP card that pretty much every blessing he says comes true. So this guy never ended up donating. So I asked, oh, what does this guy do that he made so much money? He said, oh, he has nightclubs. I said, Baruch Hashem, now I know why HaKadosh Baruch Hu did not let this guy donate. He says, why? He's Haredi, he's religious, he keeps Shabbat. I said, yeah, he's religious, he keeps Shabbat and everything else, but he's a Machtiar Rabim. He's somebody that causes the public to sin with his nightclub. People go to his nightclub, they make all the sins in the world. Drugs, alcohol, promiscuity, znoot, all the sins in the world in his nightclubs. He makes thousands of people sin every single night, and you think that Hashem is going to let a guy that has a factory of sins and sinners also have a factory of tzaddikim? No chance in the world. No chance in the world. That's not measure for measure. It's the opposite. He's helping people sin. He's going to also help people make mitzvot. No chance in the world. He doesn't have the merit. Yeah, but he has money. He has babkis. He's poor in Shemayim. He's considered Rasha. Yeah, but he keeps Shabbat. Okay, so on Shabbat, they'll turn off the fire in Gehinom for him. That's it. There's plenty of Shomrei Shabbat in Gehinom, by the way. People think that only the Mechalel Shabbat goes to Gehinom. No, that's just one section. There's 6 other sections. There's plenty of Shomrei Shabbat that go to Gehinom. Why? Because of other things, other reasons. So this guy that's a Haredi, or he calls himself Haredi, has the prayers and everything. He has a nice villa waiting for him in Gehinom. Why? Because he gets 20, 30,000 people that sin every single night. Hashem Elohim, how many sins? So a guy like that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is not going to let him donate to Kiruv. Maybe he'll donate to some giraffe, or some local shul, or some, that barely has a minyan, or, I don't know, to some painting. He'll donate for that, or maybe he'll save a monkey with Ellen DeGenerate. He'll save a monkey with her. Maybe he'll do that. But to save neshamot, never going to happen. Why? He doesn't have the merit. So, a person has to always take into account, is this non-kosher business the only way that Hashem has to give me parnasah? Obviously not. If you think that you're kofir. So that means that I got to get out of it, sell the business, sell your stake in it, and go start something kosher. And I promise you, you'll have more bracha. So that's the answer there. Second one. In school, one of the teachers said that Hashem says letters, names that keep the world existing. How does Hashem say all the letters at the same time? Is this what keeps the world existing? Very interesting. So, the Torah says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu looked into the Torah as the blueprint of the world, and then he created the world. Meaning, it wasn't the world was created first, and then the Torah was written. It was the Torah was written 974 generations before the world, and then Hashem created the world. How so? He wrote the Torah, he wrote all the laws, not the stories. He wrote the laws, and he says, okay, so there's going to be a law of kashrut. Kosher animals, non-kosher animals. So if there's kashrut, I'm going to have to make kosher animals and non-kosher animals, because if everybody's kosher, there's no point for the kashrut laws, because you can eat everything. If there's only non-kosher, then you can't follow anything because everything's not kosher, so there's nothing to think about. So he made kosher animals and non-kosher animals, and he gave us signs. What makes a kosher animal? What makes a non-kosher animal? But then there's also fish. What makes a kosher fish? What makes a non-kosher fish? If it has fins and scales, it's a kosher fish. If it doesn't have fins and scales, then it's not a kosher fish. Even if it just has fins, it's not a kosher fish. It has to have both signs. So a shark, although it has fins, it's not kosher because it doesn't have scales. An octopus or shrimp or any one of these cockroaches that's on the bottom of the ocean, those are not kosher. Why? Because they don't have fins, they don't have scales, but they're also scavengers. They're in essence the cockroaches of the ocean. You're not allowed to eat cockroaches. So it has to, in order for it to be a kosher fish, it has to have fins and scales. With animals, it has to be first of all, it cannot be a carnivore, it cannot be a meat-eating animal by default. But even more than that, it has to be an animal that chews its cud and has split hooves. And you'll see that all of the animals that we are allowed to eat are vegetarians. They're not carnivores. Why? Because the dam, whatever you eat turns into you, turns into blood. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu doesn't want us to be animalistic. A person that eats animalistic animals, like vicious animals, is also vicious. This is the reason why the Nazis, the Russians, all Amalek have no problem chopping people's head off. Because they eat animals that are vicious. They eat pig. They eat all types of animals. They pretty much eat whatever moves, whatever doesn't move, whatever flies. They don't necessarily think too much about their diet. People love the pig. The pig is the most disgusting animal on the planet. It's the only animal that exists that even if the most poisonous snake in the world bites it, nothing happens. Nothing happens. And the reason why is because the skin of the pig is so infested with poison that it's actually more poisonous than the snake's poison. A snake can bite, cobra can bite a pig, nothing happens. Because the skin of the pig is so infested that it's actually worse than the poison. One of the ways that you could see this, take a steak, and then take a piece of pig. Put Coca-Cola on both of them. You'll see that the pig, within a matter of minutes, maggot starts coming out of it. You can never clean the meat of a pig, ever. It's permanently infested, and the reason why is because the pig eats everything. It eats poop, it eats its own babies, it eats people, it eats feces, it eats everything, literally. It eats literally everything. Everything it eats. It's the most disgusting animal on the planet, and it's a tumah. You're not allowed to benefit, you're not allowed to raise a pig. Like some people are crazy in America, they raise pigs as pets, you're not allowed to as a Jew. Not allowed to sell them, it's a filthy animal. So, point is that the pig is a filthy animal, but people eat it. What happens? They become filthy too in their behavior. They become filthy too also. Also, some people like to hunt. A Jew is never allowed to hunt. Not allowed to hunt. Why are you not allowed to hunt? Because we have a law called Tsar Ba'al Chaim. You're not allowed to hurt an animal for no reason. So, if you're gonna, eat an animal, you're gonna eat a cow, you slaughter it a kosher way, and you eat it. But if you don't feel like eating it, meaning you just feel like killing the cow just for fun, you want to shoot it, to throw some bullets into it just to have some fun, you're not allowed to. Why? Because you're just killing one of Hashem's creatures for no reason. It's vicious. So going to shoot a deer with a bow and arrow or with a gun is forbidden. And the reason why is because if you shoot it with a bow and arrow with a gun, you can't eat it because then it's not kosher. The only way it can be kosher is if you slaughter it. So that means that hunting can never be kosher because you're killing it in a non-kosher way. Therefore, hunting is not allowed. You're just going to hurt the animal and you can't do anything with it. So hunting is not allowed. So we have a lot of laws that actually help the world and become a better place. But unfortunately, Jews don't know much of this, and they think that they're supposed to improve the world. There's this whole concept in the world of make the world a better place. That's all nonsense. Make yourself a better place, and the world will follow. Stop trying to fix the world. Fix yourself. People are constantly projecting to fix the world, to fix the things that are bigger than them, because in reality you can't do anything. But they say, no, I'm going to fix the world. I'm going to fix hunger in Nigeria. I'm going to fix thirst in somewhere else. I'm going to fix this over there. I'm going to fix yourself. Instead of fixing them, fix you. After you fix you by following the Torah, I promise you the world around you will become a better place. Stop trying to fix the world. Hashem doesn't need you to fix the world. No, we're going to fix global warming. How? I'm going to convince people to recycle. Oh, so Hashem needs you for that? Oh, we're going to fix this. Stop trying to fix the world. Fix yourself. If you're fixing yourself, then you can also fix the world. It's nice to do charitable things, help homeless people, help poor people, give food, give money, give time, give this. That's not a problem. But don't ever think that that replaces that. it starts with fix yourself and then help others. Don't think that by helping others, now you're absolved from the mitzvah. So the key is to know that the world, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created it in a certain way by using these laws that he had in the Torah and then created the world that followed. He knew that there's going to be written in the Torah that there's a mitzvah of tarat mishpacha, so he created a male and the female has the time of the month in order for this mitzvah to be fulfilled. You know that there's a mitzvah of all types of things, let's say tzitzit, so he gave us the materials in the world for us to create the tzitzit, and so on and so forth. So now, these laws already written, the world in essence has to have them, but how does it actually take place? How does it take place? HaKadosh Baruch Hu took the words, put them together, and him saying those words created it. Why? Because when Hashem speaks, it's not like us speaking. We speak, but we don't see anything being created out of it. But when HaKadosh Baruch Hu speaks, something is created. So if he says book, a book exists. It comes to being, comes to life. If he says world, the world comes to life. Tree comes to life. So he puts the letters together, and the totality of those letters coming together that makes the word also, in essence, create something. What is it like? This is like the world is made of all of these zeros and ones and energy and atoms and so on and so forth. And in reality, all of us and everything is made out of energy, and it's all of these tiny little atoms that you can't see with the naked eye. You need some microscopes, special microscopes with it. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in essence, allows all of these atoms to come together, spin really fast so you can't tell that they're even there, and therefore, everything to us looks solid. This book looks solid. Sunny looks solid. You guys look solid. Everybody looks solid. The chairs are solid. Everything is solid. Everything looks like it's good. But in reality, it's actually a bunch of spinning atoms, of which, out of that atom, 99% of the atom is empty space. But the only reason it looks solid is because it's spinning so fast. Similar to when you see a fan. In the ceiling, it spins really fast. It looks like there's a single blade. But if you slow down or stopped the fan, all of a sudden the truth is exposed and you see that there's 5 blades or 6 blades. How come it looked like a single blade at first, but now it's 5? Because when it's spinning really fast, there's the optical illusion that it's a single blade. How come you look solid and everything looks solid in the world? Because there's the optical illusion, because it's spinning really fast, the atom is spinning really fast, that it's in essence all solid, it's all one piece. But in reality, it's nothing. 99% is zero, is empty space. So in essence, what makes all of this come to life? The name of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu puts the words together to, in essence, create everything, and the power of His holy name, in essence, puts life into creation. Similar to how you answer the question when somebody asks, okay, so if the atom is spinning and that's why everything is solid, what happens if it stops spinning? The same thing that happens if the fan stops spinning. You see the truth. You see that there's 5 blades. But only here with the atom, you see what? You see that there's 99% of it is empty space, meaning that the emptiness, the nothingness is exposed. And therefore, if the atom stops spinning for a second, everything simply disappears. It doesn't get destroyed. It doesn't explode. It just disappears because it's empty. It's nothing. So the next question is, what keeps it spinning? The power of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name. So that whole process is constantly done 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. HaKadosh Baruch Hu recreates the creation over and over again. Be'ezrat Hashem, soon we're going to publish a video, maybe even do it in a shiur. One of my dear friends in Eretz Yisrael is a Talmid Chacham. He's also a physicist and an engineer. Has really peculiar things that he found in science and nature that show HaKadosh Baruch Hu's name. And how Mamash, you see a Kadosh Baruch Hu's name in everything. In the universe, in plants, in people, in everything. And B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to make a video together that to go over it. Maybe next time, maybe after the B'ezrat Hashem, after Rosh HaShanah, we'll do it here. But point is that a Kadosh Baruch Hu's name, the power of his name, is in essence giving life to the creation. Any other questions? Let me see what time it is. What? Yes, Chabot.
Is it possible that a person can get to a point that they can actually pray and learn Torah, and they can begin to, like their environment starts moving and spinning and things like where they feel like they're completely in another world?
Can they get a physical reaction from their learning and praying?
Physical and visual.
The answer is yes and no. Yes, it can happen, but no, in a sense that it's not so simple. Meaning it's not something that's going to happen to most people. Most people, it's never going to happen to them. It's not because it's not possible for it to happen to them. It's that most people are not necessarily going to have the wherewithal or even the effort that's required for such a thing to happen. But can every one of us do it? Yes. The Rambam writes in Halacha that every Jew should aspire to be like Moshe Rabbeinu, because he can be. Not that you can be in a level of Moshe Rabbeinu, because that would be kfirah. Because it says in the Torah, no one's going to be like Moshe Rabbeinu. But meaning, be like Moshe Rabbeinu in a sense of his righteousness, that you could reach your full potential. You could reach your full potential. And the Gemara in Masechet Avodah Zarah gives the direct instructions of how to reach Ruach HaKodesh. There's direct instructions of how you can reach Ruach HaKodesh, and there's actually a shiur, I think even a couple of times, in the Musar Pirkei Avot series, where I went over the entire step process of anybody that wants Ruach HaKodesh. You have a direct, exact, precise instructions of how to attain Ruach HaKodesh if you want. You have Ruach HaKodesh, lots of stuff happens. Lots of stuff happens. All types of cool things happen. You should get it. You guys should try it this week. But point is that yes, can you get it? Can it happen? Yes. Some people even say they have it, but in reality they're all either delirious or something can happen sometimes, but it doesn't necessarily always mean that it's a good. There are some people that can, in essence, be a show, at least, like the nature change as a result of their action. Whether it's a make something disappear, or make something appear, or walk on water, or crush something with their mind, or move something. That exists in the world. But most of the time, it's from the tum'ah of the world. It's not the kedusha. I know somebody that can do it with kedusha, but it's not. He doesn't do it anymore. He doesn't mess with it because it takes a lot out of you. It's not such a simple thing to do, but also it's dangerous. It's dangerous to deal with that stuff. But the people that do it with the tum'ah, it's also dangerous. But they already sold their soul to the devil, pretty much. But there are certain things that people do that use the power of the tum'ah in order to manipulate nature, without really going further into the details. There are plenty of people that do it, and those people usually are very extreme, very strange, and what they're doing is real. It's just that it's problematic to anybody that is associated with it.
How do you think they learn that stuff? Google?
No, it's not necessarily Google. It's not hard.
Not hard?
Chlalo. You could do it in 5 minutes if you want.
How? I won't do it. I'll take the $50 and I'll donate the $50.
Well, I already said it in the past, one thing, so I could say it again. One thing is there's a Ouija board. Ouija boards are real.
What's a Ouija board?
A Ouija board is a peculiar board. You can make it out of anything. The content of the board and the material of the board is insignificant. You can make it out of paper. You can make it out of wood. It has numbers and letters on it and so on. And you get a few people together, and at least one person needs to be understand the kochot tum'ah, the power of the tum'ah, and you call a neshama from the other world to come and give you information. And that is one way that you can get a lot of information about this world that the natural person cannot get. Future, past, details, and so on. It's real. Only problem is that once you do that, you become a slave to those creatures. And they're not going to go away for free. So it's very dangerous, and it's forbidden for a Jew to do it because it's considered idolatry. So it's forbidden for a Jew to do it. The only reason I'm mentioning it is because I mentioned it actually even last week, I think. That there's famous stories of Jews that did it and got hurt as a result of it. So Ouija board is one way. The Gemara also says that if somebody wants to see all the creatures around them that you can't see with the naked eye, then you can take a cat, kill the cat, take its stomach, burn it, they take the ashes, put it on your eyes, and then pretty much you'll live in Gehenom because you'll see everything that's around you and there's no way to undo it. One of the Gdolim in the time of Gemara did it, and he started praying to die because he couldn't take it because it was so scary. But he was lucky and fortunate enough that he had a lot of Torah plus a lot of friends that were Kodesh Kodeshim, that were also Tanaim, and they had the power to undo it. We don't have such power today. So that's another way to do it. Also, the people that use the Kochot Tumah, they in essence bring sacrifices to the Satan. And those sacrifices are seed and blood. So they use their sperm and they use their blood as a sacrifice to the Satan. A person that does it and knows a few things of what they need to do could be given a lot of things to it, but also it's committing suicide because there's no way to undo it. There's no way to undo it. There's no. You pretty much have to commit suicide. So there are people in the world that do it. There's people that even know how to do voodoo. Certain dolls. They could if they could make somebody in a spell, if they take a hair of his or fingernail or something like that, and they could in essence have influence over his body. This is very common in South America, in Haiti, and different places like that, and they could take control over people's bodies and hurt them because of this. This is also why when you cut your nails, you should always put them down the toilet. It's part of the reason, not the only reason, but it's part of the reason that always to make sure that you don't leave remains everywhere. In America it's not very common. Another thing is that it's very common among different goyim, especially South Americans, Spanish use this often, but also many other non-Jewish nations use this, is a women's period. A woman's period can bring is tum'ah, and if she puts it in the food of somebody, she could influence the person. So these are dangerous things. That means that you have to be careful whose house you eat in. Now, some people say this is crazy, and they're going to take what I say like it's crazy, and they're going to do it, and they're going to ruin their life. They're going to think that I'm a crazy person, I'm making stuff up, and they're going to try to do it, and they're going to ruin their life, and then I can't help them. So don't ask me for help on this stuff. I can just tell you what it is. There's other things, but the point is that you want to play with fire, you're going to get burned. You're going to get burned. This is what it is. You want to commit suicide, it's easy to just jump off a bridge. But there's a lot of things in the world. Kochot Tumah are not a joke. It's real. This is, many of the opinions are that the reason why, for example, Jesus was able to perform miracles, things that were supernatural, is because he was using kochot tumah. He was using the impure powers. He wasn't using kedusha. He did do some of those things. Whatever, some of the miracles they say he did. That's not exactly a big deal, because at the time of the Gemara, at the time he lived, the average Tana was able to do 50 million more times than what he did. But people don't talk about that. We have Tanaim that split the ocean. We have Tanaim that brought back the dead many times. It's not a big deal. But people make big deal out of this Mumar, Mamzer Jesus, because he performed miracles. But the way he performed miracles is through Tum'ah. All types of spells and impurity and so on, because there is a powers of impurity in the world, and you can do a lot of things with them. And sometimes even people that are professionals in the world, like for example illusionists, some of them are just really good and crafty at what they do, but some of them are actually using kochot tumah to perform magic. Some of them are actually using this stuff in order to perform magic, but it's good luck in Gehenom when it eventually ends. But let's say it is real. It is real. It does exist.
So I always thought that Jesus couldn't really be proven in terms of even the apostles lived at a different time than JC.
So there is multiple opinions on it. We did a whole shiur about. We spoke about it several times, but we have a whole shiur, 2.5 hours, about the different opinions, but most importantly, what the most common opinion is that he did exist. Most common opinion he did exist. The problem for the Christians is that the only document that verifies that he exists is the Torah, meaning the Gemara. Like, they don't have any secular historical information that proves his existence, because the New Testament, the False Testament, was written between 70 to 300 years after he died. Meaning that the writers, the authors of the New Testament, never even saw him. They never saw him. There's no, it's not like he spoke to them or anything like that, or he taught anybody. So that's one. Two, at the time that he lived, there's there was newspapers. There was, journalists all the time. There was journalists all the way from the time of Egypt. Many of the things that were written in the Torah, you can see that Egyptian journalists wrote about it in their scribes. You can see that they wrote about it in the different hieroglyphics and so on. They found out many of the things that were written in the Torah, the oceans being split, the 10 plagues, all that stuff was actually written by Egyptians in their newspapers, if you will. So it's a third unbiased party wrote about what's written in the Torah, and this is in all types of museums for anyone who wants to know. Now, there's even, for example, you go to, I think it's in Holland, there's a museum of a certain nation that talks about how they were the descendants of Bilam and they ran away from Yeshua ben Nun. They used to be one of the nations that lived in the Girgashi. The Girgashi, they ran away. Why? They the only ones, they ran away from, they lived in Eretz Yisrael, but they ran away. Why? Because Yeshua ben Nun went after them. They ran away. And they cursed Yeshua ben Nun and so on, but in essence, it's what there is in the Torah. They ran away from him. So this is a third party that, in essence, is not writing, it's not a Jew. So we have evidence of certain things. Why? Because journalists always existed. Historians always existed. Meaning that anytime there was somebody special, somebody wrote about it. Today, it's even more extensive. If some 13-year-old kid hits a grand slam, it's in 5 local newspapers and 18 different internet sites. If some kid eats an ice cream and has a cockroach in it, it's all over the news in every country, in every language. If there's a terrorist attack in some small town no one ever heard of, every newspaper, every TV channel, all of a sudden CNN is interested in going to, Guatemala. Why? Because something happened over there. So, 2,000 years ago, wasn't that different? So you would think some newspaper, some historian, somebody would write something about this special guy with a rock star haircut that's making miracles, bringing back the dead, walking on water, making one bucket into many fish. You would think somebody's writing something about it, but nothing. Bupkis. The only document that existed at his time that actually mentions him is the Gemara. But the problem for the Christians is, and the reason why they hate the Gemara, and why they killed countless Jews because of the Gemara, and they forced the Jews to censor the Gemara and remove his name from it, and we still have it only in the old copies of the Gemara, but the new ones that you see today don't have Jesus' name in it. You go get Art Scroll, you don't have Jesus' name in it. But anyone that sees the old Gemara, the original copy, sees that his name is in it. Gemara Masechet Sotah, Avodah Zarah, Shabbat, Sanhedrin, Gitin. It's in a half a dozen or more Gemarot, his name. Who he was and what and who and what happened, all the details. We talked about a story last week of how he came to life, how he's really a mamzer. His wife was married to a Jew, but then she cheated on him with some goy. The point is that Gemara says who he was, how he came about, and that he was a Rasha, and he's in Gehenom, and he's never going to leave. So the non-Jews don't like that. The Christians don't like that stuff. So they killed us for it. They killed many of us over it. So the general opinion is that he did exist. It's and we know exactly who he was, and what he did, and that's it. Somebody wants to say he didn't exist. Okay, well, I don't really know what the benefit of saying it doesn't exist. The funny thing is, though, is that anytime I've come out with a video about Christianity and showing how it's false, sometimes, Christians obviously don't like it. But, they'll say something ridiculous like, oh, you don't understand, or something like no proof or anything like that. You don't understand, or, But the worst people are religious Jews that defend Christianity. Those are the worst people. And you'll see in the comments on my YouTube videos, last week's video that came out with that story, the only ones that are defending Jesus are religious Jews. Not religious like Haridim, people that are actually on Shemet. People like half Reform, half secular, half something. They think they're religious. They think they know stuff. Why? Because they watched a few YouTube videos. And they decide, no, the opinion is this, as if they read all the books. They read one book, maybe. But they decide they know the opinion. So point is that it's did he exist? The general, most common opinion is that yes. Who and what he was, we understand who he was. There's a lot of material about him, but it's not very commonly spoken about in the way that we speak about it, because people don't want problems with the goyim. I, on the other hand, think that it's important to speak about it because there are many Jews that are ignorant about the truth, and they simply think that we're hiding it. So it's important to expose it and to show how filthy Christianity is, because in the last 25 years, almost 500,000 Jews have converted to Christianity due to their ignorance. And many celebrity Jews, which are, were reformed to begin with, are becoming openly Christian. And these celebrities are very influential to other ignorant kids, other ignorant people, and therefore you have to speak about it. You have to speak about it. So we actually do a lot of anti-missionary work. We have one organization in Eretz Yisrael called One for Israel, Imach Shimam V'Zichram. May Hashem give them a strange death this Rosh HaShanah, Bezrat Hashem, because these people are their entire existence is to destroy the Torah. Their entire existence is a group of Israeli Jews that have obviously become umarim. They're the worst people on earth, and anyone that gets offended by my wish for their death is simply an idiot and does not understand the danger that Am Yisrael is in from these people. These are simply the most dangerous people on earth. They have an endless amount of money, and they make countless high-end videos to convince Israelis and Americans to convert to Christianity. And they're very good at it. They're very, very good at it. So they're very dangerous. We've had a whole story with them. They've been battling Rabbi Ephraim on the internet. But the point is that these people are very, very dangerous. But they're not only dangerous in Eretz Yisrael, they're also doing it in America. And they're so good at it that people don't even realize there's anything wrong. And some Jews that are, support them without even realizing that they're supporting Christianity. So this is happening. This is happening in the world. It's a dangerous place. What else?
Also, why would Hashem give human beings the power to bring back the dead if Hashem killed them already?
When HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives the Tanaim the power to change nature, if you will, it's not for naught. It's not for no reason. Something happened, and I'll give you an example. The Gemara says that one of the tzaddikim from Bavel was defending his rabbi, but his defense of his rabbi was too aggressive, and his rabbi told him he has to leave Bavel, he has to leave Iraq, he has to go to Eretz Yisrael. But he has to pretend like he doesn't know anything. He can't go there and be the gadol that he is over there. He has to be quiet for 7 years. But go to the yeshiva of Rabbi Yochanan. So, Rabbi Yochanan, his chavruta was Resh Lakish. They would teach every day, and the guy came to the yeshiva, and Resh Lakish was teaching. Now, he remembers that Resh Lakish, he's allowed to talk to him, he's allowed to change, and only don't tell Rabbi Yochanan that he really knows all this information. Honor the rabbi over there, he's the Gadol Hador, you be quiet when he's there. That's what his rabbi told him. But Resh Lakish, you could, anybody else, like he doesn't tell him specifically, anybody else you could talk to, you could exchange information, but don't try to become the big rabbi over there. So anyway, Resh Lakish was giving a shiur, and all of a sudden this new guy is answering all the questions, giving tough questions. Resh Lakish, amazed, who's this chacham? Where did this guy come from? Ask him, he came from Babylonia, came from Babel. So Resh Lakish says to his chavruta, to his rabbi, Rabbi Yochanan, the lion from Babylon has come to Yerushalayim. Meaning, tomorrow you have a shiur, make sure you're prepared for the shiur. Why? There's a lion, there's a guy, big Talmid Chacham from Babylon, it's here. He's not a regular Talmid. This one is something special. I had a shiur today, I was struggling with him. So, Rabbi Yochanan was very old, and his eyebrows were so big they covered his eyes. Anytime he wanted to see somebody with his holy eyes, he would have somebody lift his eyebrows. Old man, and he would sit on 7 different pillows as he's teaching everybody else. But since this chacham was so impressive, they put him in the front row. Because the closer you are to Rabbi Yochanan, the more honor you got, meaning you have to be a big chacham. So Rabbi Yochanan started teaching. Taught the first step, expecting him to ask a question. He asked a question. Rabbi Yochanan says, so he's not first level. He pointed to the people, tell him to go back a row. He's not first level. Yeah, get up, go second row. Continue teaching, he didn't say anything. Oh, so you don't even know questions about this either? Second row. Go, third row. Continue teaching, didn't ask any questions. Why? Because he doesn't know he's not allowed to talk. He's not allowed to talk. So he continues to bring him back. Now, he is embarrassed so much because the Gemara says when someone has dvar Torah to say, something to say, but he fasts, he doesn't say it, it's a huge kaparat avonot for him. It's huge difficulty for him. He has something to say, he has the answer, but he stays quiet. It's a huge, huge difficulty for him. So he, long story short, was forced to go back 7 rows. And then he said, may these 7 rows be counted as if I fasted for 7 years and didn't say anything for 7 years. So then after that, he says, listen, Rabbi, can you please go and bring the first question again? So Rabbi Yochanan said the first question, he gave him an answer. Tav, wow, said, bring him back a row. He said, second question again, another row. Long story short, he went all the way back to the front row. So Rabbi Yochanan was so impressed by this guy that has all these answers that he asked his assistant, I want to see him. I want to see what he looks like, this tzaddik. I want to see what he looks like. So raise his eyebrow, and he opened his eyes, and he saw that the guy looks like he's smiling. So he thought he's laughing at him. That he got the answer, he got the better of him. On the spot, he looked at him and he died. Now what? Did Rabbi Yochanan want to kill him? No. It's that Rabbi Yochanan was so holy that the fact that he suffered for a second, thinking that this guy is making fun of him, Hashem says, no. Rabbi Yochanan is suffering because of this guy? No, he has no right to live. He lost his right to live because he's suffering because of him. He died. They took the guy, buried him in some cave. Couple of days later, the issue comes up, and Rabbi Yochanan asked the students, they mentioned the guy that was really chacham. He goes, wow, you mentioned this chacham. He did something wrong. He's laughing in my face. He goes, no, Kvod Rav, he wasn't laughing in your face at all. He goes, what do you mean? I saw him with my own eyes, he's laughing in my face. He goes, no, Kvod Rav, he has a cut. He has a cut on his face, a deformity on his face, that it looks like he's smiling all the time. He wasn't laughing at you. He just looks like he's smiling all the time. Rabbi Yochanan says, what? Chas v'shalom. What happened? He died. Bring him back. He goes, what bring him back? We buried him. He goes, okay, so let's go bring him back. Let's go bring him back. Take me to his grave. They took him to the grave, and you see he's in a tunnel. He's in a cave. But in front of the cave, there's a huge, giant anaconda. Rabbi Yochanan says to anaconda, move. Nothing. Anaconda is there. Because Rabbi Yochanan, I'm here. The power of Torah, move. Nothing. I'm in the honor of the tzaddik. Nothing. I'm the talmid of the tzaddik. Rabbi Yochanan says, I'm his student. Anaconda moves like a little nothing. Okay, now you're allowed to enter. Rabbi Yochanan went, prayed half a second, the guy came back to life. Why? Because now, initially, Rabbi Yochanan was so holy that HaKadosh Baruch Hu in essence made his will his will. If someone caused them suffering, they in essence lost the right to live. They lost the right to live. So Hashem said he lost his right to live. But now that he's no longer causing him suffering, in fact it's causing him suffering that he's dead. Oh, okay, so let's bring him back to life. You think it's any more difficult for Hashem to bring back someone that died back to life than it is to take a putrid seed and turn it into you? Turn it into me? No. Same thing. What is the difference? Difference is on what merit. And that's why the Gemara in Masechet Nida says that any time the man is with his wife, the seed goes into the body, and there's an angel called Laila that takes the seed and goes up to Hashem and says, what will be with this seed? Will he live? Will he die? Will be male? Will be female? Tall, short, rich, poor? Meaning, what merit will be given to this person? But in essence, does it even have a merit to come to life? Because there's a place in heaven called Guf, where all the neshamot are. Which one of those neshamot is going to go into this seed? And what will you give it in the world? All of this is decided already before you come to the world. Rich, poor, tall, short, black, white, green, whatever you're going to be, already decided before you come to the world. Only thing that you decide in this world is whether you're going to listen to Hashem or not. That's the only thing you're going to decide. There are certain things that you can change in, as far as through your prayers and your tshuva, but that's not because you're changing Hashem's name. That's because you're changing your own merit due to your actions. Before you did tshuva, your merit was equal to 1. After you did tshuva, your merit increased to 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or 9. Therefore, that 9 deserves something else. The level 1 version of you deserved bupkis. The level 9 of you deserved anything you want. That's also the same concept when it comes to suffering. People think that they can escape suffering. So they say, listen, I'm not going to have as many kids because I don't want you. It's too difficult to have kids. So people stop having kids after 2, 3 kids thinking that, no, I can't afford more kids. It's too difficult to run the kids. Even if they can afford it, they don't want to have kids because it's hard to run kids. They figured if it's hard to manage 2 kids, it'll be more difficult to manage 3 kids. And it'll be even more difficult to manage 4 kids, and so on and so forth. This is kfirah. Why? Because in essence, what you're saying is that you're deciding that this is, Hashem is giving you a mitzvah, but you're going to suffer because of it. So what is the way to understand it? On Rosh HaShanah, in a few days from now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to decide everything. Whether we live, whether we die, chas v'shalom, whether we are going to make money, lose money, and so on. But one of the things that he's going to decide is how much suffering every person is going to get that year. So let's say if we measure the suffering, each person gets, let's say, his 20 pounds of suffering. One guy gets 20 pounds, another guy gets 10 pounds, another guy gets 50 pounds, whatever it is. But let's say one guy gets 20 pounds of suffering. No matter what, that's his. That's his 20 pounds. That's his baby for this year. That's his 20 pounds of suffering. Whether he has 3 kids, 4 kids, 18 kids, or none, he's still getting 20 pounds of suffering. That's what was decreed on him. So that means that if he has, let's say, 2 kids, and his main suffering is coming through the kids, let's say, then each kid is, let's say, hypothetically speaking, is 10 pounds of suffering. So each kid's going to be really difficult. But now if he has 4 kids, it's not going to be 40 pounds. It's not going to be 10 each. What is it going to be? 20 divided by 4. So now all of a sudden, each kid is 5. That's a much more manageable kid. That's a regular kid. I can deal with this kind of kid. It's actually easier to deal with the 4 kids than it is the 2 kids. Because the 2 kids, they were pretty much climbing the walls and eating the neighbor's vegetables. The 4 kids, they're just being kids. They're just breaking stuff once in a while. Once he goes 5, 6, it's still 20 pounds. Guess what? It's even easier. All of a sudden he has tzaddikim in his house. You understand? So the point is that people think that it's more means less or vice versa. It's just you have to understand that HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided many things before you even came to the world. The things that you can change through your actions. You can improve things through your actions. You can hurt things through your actions. Person stops following the Torah and Mitzvot, he can bring a lot of damage to his life. Starts making more sins, he can bring a lot of damage to his life. So the point is that most of us think that we can't change anything, but in reality we can. We can change a lot, but it's all starts with doing Chuva. All of it. Doesn't matter how you started your life. It doesn't even actually matter where you are right now. Doesn't matter if you keep Shabbat, you don't keep Shabbat. Doesn't matter anything. What matters is what you're going to do from now on. If a person decides and takes the initiative to change and improve their life, they can have a fantastic Rosh HaShanah. That's what Kadosh Baruch Hu is pretty much going to decide, okay, so you commit to doing Tshuva, I'm going to give you more time. Where it could have been that literally Kadosh Baruch Hu already said, okay, he doesn't do Tshuva by now, and I'm finished already. But now you decided 2 minutes later, 2 minutes before this, okay, you know what, Hashem, I'm going to do something. What? I'm going to do Tshuva. How? I'm going to start keeping mitzvot. I'm going to start learning. I'm going to start supporting Kiruv. I'm going to do a lot of different things that I never did before. This is part of the reason why a lot of people give tzedakah on the holidays, because in essence, this is supposed to, at least, it's supposed to influence the decisions in heaven by showing some type of initiative to change. But stupid people promise to give tzedakah but don't. They buy the aliyah and say, yeah, 10,000, 5,000, 20,000, but they don't pay. That person is in essence committing spiritual suicide. Or somebody saying, oh, listen, Rabbi, here's a check, and a check bounces. This is a mistake, a very big mistake. And we'll finalize with this. One time a guy didn't follow Torah and Mitzvot. Died, called up to Shamayim, said, listen, you didn't follow very much. We're sorry, you're going to have to go to Gehenom. So the guy is burning into ashes. But one day, they open up the gate that never opens. Ah, Steve! No, come out! What? He's carrying, poor guy, he's like falling apart. Come out, me, come out! Yeah, come. You're going somewhere else. Guy comes down in pieces, his fingers are falling off. He's like a coal. What's going on? What's happening? That's it. You're going to Gan Eden. Really? I finished? Yeah, you're done. You're going to Gan Eden. Wow, all of a sudden he starts healing. They let him in. He sees, wow, beautiful things in Gan Eden. Wow, Yishtabach Shemo. He starts going in. There's food, there's this, there's no fire. Wow, amazing. He goes, whoa, what happened? He goes, your son just donated $1 million. Just donated $1 million to Bezrat Hashem. So that's it. He saved your life. You know how many souls are going to be saved by this $1 million? I knew my son's going to do it for me. I knew it. I knew he's going to come through for me. I knew it. What a son I had, Tzaddik. I knew that kid's going to come through. He's not going to follow his father's stupid steps. Because when I left the world, I was worried. He starts talking to Malach, becomes best friends with him. I was worried because, I showed him out of Michal Shabbat. I introduced him to his Goya girlfriend. I did this. I figured this guy's going to be worse than me. I'm never leaving Gehenom. But now you're telling me my son just gave $1 million to Bezrat Hashem? Oh, what a son I have. I knew he could do it for me. So he hangs out 2-3 days. He's having a good time of his life. All of a sudden, Malachi Chabala, Duma, comes over there, grabs him by the shoulders. Yalla, Steve, let's go. You're going back. Goes, what happened? I'm here. I'm in Gan Eden. You don't know who my son is. My son gave $1 million to Bezrat Hashem. Duma says, hey, the check bounced. Now, even though it's a joke, it actually happened. I had a guy give me a check, and you get the usual Chazaku Baruch once in a while. You get a text message, thank you, Chazaku Baruch, Hashem bless you, and a check bounced. Not $1 million, a few $100. It ended up costing us like $25. The bank charges you money. So I tell the guy, listen, I don't know what happened with the financial, but at least give me the $25 so it doesn't cost us money. We're losing money because of this. MIA, missing in action. One time I saw him. I said, listen, you remember I sent you a bunch of messages, this, that. Can you just get the 20? Forget the money that you gave. You don't have, no problem. But at least the $20, so at least it's not considered as if you stole. It's not considered as if you stole from a place of holiness, a place that does kiruv. You can't mess with that. It's like messing with the Bet HaMikdash. Crazy to do that. So, I'll do it. No, I have to pay for him. Why? I don't want to go to get no miskin. They say, machulecha, miskin. Crazy people. Yalla. Anything else? Yes.
This concept just introduced right now because you had to forgive him because of what probably even realize that. So you have to forgive him to listen, so he doesn't have to.
Okay.
Now, it's in this time where we're trying to repent.
Okay.
How does that happen? Let's say you, unintentionally, or someone think you kind of did something to them.
Okay.
Or you did it, you didn't know then, and you know now, and you're trying to reach, but that person is not, is not at that level. He's still holding. He's not, letting you go.
Forgiveness. Yeah. Forgiveness is a important thing. If a person is alive, he's a regular person, and you did bad by him. If you took money from him, you have to give it back. Simply. But if it's something like you insulted him, you hurt him in some way, or you hurt her in some way, then you have to try to ask for their forgiveness 3 times. 3 times. If they do not forgive you after 3 times, you fulfilled your obligation. You're okay. You did your job, you asked for forgiveness, they don't want to forgive you, there's nothing you can do about it. You did it 3 times. 3 times, you've humbled yourself and asked for forgiveness, but not the type of forgiveness where you go to the guy, he's like, hey, listen, I'm sorry about what happened, but you were wrong too. That's not saying I'm sorry. Listen, you know what happened, it's my bad, I'm sorry about it, but by the way, you're not exactly so right yourself. That's not asking I'm sorry. That's, in essence, you're just starting the argument, even making it even worse. Saying I'm sorry means, listen, I'm really sorry, I was wrong, even though you were right. Even though you were thinking you're right. Whatever it is, I'm sorry, my bad, I did bad, I'm wrong. Oh, no, it wasn't that. No, it was. No, it was. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. Yeah, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me. Sorry means, in essence, you have to pretty much remove your pride and say, I'm sorry, you were wrong. Even if you weren't 100%, you're wrong. That's I'm sorry. You try to do that 3 times. If the person is difficult and doesn't want to forgive you after 3 times, there's nothing you can do. But that's only if he's a common person. If he's a Talmid Chacham, then even if it's 1,000 times he says no, you have to keep going. 1,000 times. 1,000 times he says no, I don't want to forgive you. You have to keep going. You have to keep asking for sorry. Why? You hurt one of Hashem's soldiers, you have a very, very serious problem. Do whatever you can to get his forgiveness. Normally, it doesn't require that many times, but the Gemara says, even if it does, even if this Talmid Chacham, some Talmid Chachamim, they have a little bit of gava, they have a little bit of a, anger in them, fire in them, that they don't want to forgive you. And there actually is a Gemara in Masechet Yoma that says that if somebody, Talmid Chacham, somebody goes against them, and he doesn't take revenge, he's not Talmid Chacham. If somebody took advantage of him because of money, then they forgive him. But if somebody embarrassed him in public, said, don't let it go. Actually says in the Gemara, don't let it go. Take revenge. Not yourself. If something happens to him in the world, let it happen. Why? Because when he went against Talmid Chacham, he went against the Torah. It's not about the Talmid Chacham himself. It's the Torah that he represents. So if you offended, if you wrote a comment on the internet against some Talmid Chacham, or for example, one guy that was watching my shiurim for a while, and one day I said something about Zionists being Rashaim. This guy didn't like it, even though he was watching my shiurim already for like a year, 2 years, helped him do Chuva, but he didn't like what I said about the Zionists being Rashaim, even though it's true. And he sent me an email cursing my wife out, and all types of names. Now, if you curse me out, you say whatever you say to me, it doesn't really make a difference to me. You've mentioned my wife into it, you mentioned my kid, you mentioned anything about it, most likely if you die a strange death, I'm going to laugh. Why? What does she have to do with it? What does she have to do with it? What did she do to you? So a person like this, most likely, even if he apologizes 1,000 times, most likely won't accept it. Why? You crossed the line. You want to curse me out, you want to insult me, you don't like what I said, you don't agree with me, no problem. But why'd you cross the line? Why'd you go there? So everybody's got that line. Everybody's got that line. Everybody's got a line. Don't cross that line. Sometimes people cross the line. So, it depends. Does that mean that that person not forgiving means that they're bad? No, it doesn't mean that they're bad. It means you crossed the line. You crossed the line. There's something, but that's assuming again that it's normal under normal circumstances. Either way, it's a person that went against Talmid Chacham. They made a comment on the internet. They said Lashon Hara. They caused the lecture to be canceled. Things like that. They have to do everything possible to get forgiveness. Now everyone knows the book Sharei Chuva by Rabbi Yaron, written almost 800 years ago. What very few people don't know is that the entire book, which is one of the most important Musar books ever written since the history of the world, that book is very deep. It's something, mamash, he must have written it with some level of Ruach HaKodesh. He was one of the Talmidim of the Ramban, I believe. But anyway, Rabbi Yaron was one of the people that went against the Rambam. Went against the Rambam. And when he found out that the Rambam really is right, and he's really the Gedol Adol, and he realized that he went against the biggest rabbi in the world, he decided to spend the rest of his life going from community to community to publicize his apology to the Rambam, just in case his words against the Rambam reached that community. Well, you don't know where it's reached. You said one word over here. Somebody was here, but he moved back to somewhere else. And then he told somebody else. Then he told somebody else. You don't know where it reached. He spent the rest of his life going from community to community, publicizing that he's wrong. The Rambam is the biggest rabbi in the world. He's the Kodesh Kodeshim. And his whole life, this whole period of what he did, from that, he wrote Sharet Chuva. Sharet Chuva is the culmination of his 2 decades of Chuva for saying one thing against the Rambam. And if you see what he writes in just the first few chapters, already you have Pachad Elokim, you're already scared to death. What he says about if you don't do Chuva. And what you have to do in order to do Chuva. So, point is that if a person went against somebody who's a Talmid Chacham, they have to do whatever they can to undo it. They have to do whatever they can to undo it. And by the way, just to finalize everything, that's actually the Gemara in Masechet Gitin that says that Onkelos, that before he converted, he did a seance. And he brought back 3 neshamot that to ask him if he should convert and what's happening in the next world. One of the neshamot was his uncle, Titus. He asked him, should I convert? He said, no, it's too hard to be a Jew. He says, but who's in control in the real world where you are? He says, the Jews, the righteous Jews. He says, what's happening to you? Titus says, I'm getting punished where they're burning me to ashes every day, spread me around all the oceans of the world, and then they put me back together, and then they burn me all over again. So then after, that's my punishment. That's what the Titus says. Then he brought back Bilam. He said, Bilam, what should I convert? He says, don't convert, it's too hard. It's too hard to convert, it's too hard to be a Jew. Just torture the Jews in this world, at least you'll benefit from one world. He says, but who runs the world over there? Who benefits over there? He goes, the righteous Jews. Says, where are you? He goes, oh, I'm being boiled every day in semen. They're boiling me in semen. Why? Because I wasted seed with my donkey. So then he brought back Jesus. And he asked Jesus, should I convert? He says, yes. Should convert. He goes, who runs the world over there? He goes, the righteous Jews. The righteous Jews are the ones that benefit on top in the real world. And he says to him, so where are you? He says, I am in the 7th level of Gehenom, and they're boiling me in feces every day. He says, how come? He says, because I went against Talmidei Chachamim. I went against the rabbis. My punishment is eternity. So even though he was a Jew, even though he actually told him the truth that he should convert because you could be a righteous Jew and so on, that didn't help his case. Why? He went against Talmidei Chachamim. That's the whole thing with him. That's the whole thing with him. So some of these foolish people that make comments on the internet, don't listen to this rabbi, don't listen to Rabbi Yaron, don't listen to Rabbi Mizrahi, don't listen to Rabbi Zitron, or whatever it is, whatever other Talmid Chacham, you make a comment on the internet, you send an email to somebody, you send a text message to somebody, or you even make a comment saying, yeah, I guess some people like him, but I don't really like him, he's not my taste. And that stupid comment influences another person not to listen to our shiurim, you have a very, very serious cheshbon in Shamayim. You have a very serious cheshbon in Shamayim. You pretty much have to become that rabbi's employee for free in order for him to forgive you. Because you have no idea the level of damage that caused. So that's some of the things that people do nonchalantly and lose their olam haba without even knowing it. They're just, walking corpses. And a lot of people do it. A lot of people do it. Many times you see it with people that want to convert. But strangely, it never works. Strangely, the Bet Din never wants to talk to them. Strangely, no one ever wants to sponsor them. 10 years already. They're in a conversion process, but nothing happens. Why? Because they probably did something like this. they did something like this, they say Lashon Hara about Am Yisrael and so on. People like that say danger to society and most importantly danger to themselves. So during this Rosh Hashanah, a person should take the initiative in taking on the commitment to change. Pick one thing that you're going to change. If you are smart, you'll pick even more because there's certain things that are easy. One thing I would recommend for everybody to do is that if there is a Shiur Torah, and it's a real Shiur Torah, unless it's a positive comment, don't comment at all on the internet, ever. Unless it's a positive comment that's going to influence other people to watch it, don't comment at all. Sometimes people comment on the thread of the live feed and just talk to each other. It's a mistake. You're influencing other people to stop watching the shiur and look at your comments. It's a mistake. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't even watch the shiur if you're going to do that. Or some people say, oh yeah, I don't really like that. You shouldn't do it. Don't watch the shiur if you don't like it. Why? Because you're influencing other people to go away from the shiur. You can influence people to go away from the Torah. So unless it's a positive comment, don't make a comment at all. That shouldn't be too difficult. You don't have something good to say, don't say anything at all. That's probably heard this when you're growing up. 2, do everything you possibly can to evaluate yourself fairly and pick one thing that you're going to become an expert in. One thing that you're going to be, this is your baby. You're going to be the best at this mitzvah. But that doesn't mean that you could ignore everything else. All the other things that are obvious that you're doing that you know is wrong, already commit to Hashem. I'm going to work on them. I'm going to do something about them to fix them. 3, make some type of plan to do kiruv. And as I said to you guys earlier, money is the most common way to do it, simply because most people are busy living their life. They don't have the ability or time to do kiruv on a regular basis. Plus, it's just an easy mitzvah to do. All you got to do is just send money without doing any work. I mean, if you could do more, but you should do it. This is the reason why we started that drive for people that want us to specifically pray for them, specifically during Rosh Hashanah, $1,800. Some people love it and they want to do it, but some people say, why it's so expensive? I said, you want to donate? Don't donate at all. Well, it's expensive. What am I'm buying a plane with this money? This is for kiruv purposes. It's just to entice people to do something. Because if I don't say an amount, people are going to send $18. What's $18 going to do? What am I going to do with $18? If you have $1,800, donate $1,800. But if I don't tell you, you're not going to donate $1,800. You're going to donate $18. So you think that $18 is going to do something. What am I going to do with $18? Maybe buy a book and give it to you? Not even. Today, average book I give to people for free is $25, $30. Every week we send kiruv packages. Thousands of dollars for free every week. People think, okay, $18. If that's all you have, I want it. That's the best tzedakah in the world. But if you have $1,800 to give, but you'll give only $18, you're not helping yourself. If you have, you have. But some people don't have. So we said, okay, payment plan, $150 a month. 12 months, it's $1,800. It's not the biggest deal in the world. You don't have it, you don't have it. But if you have it, you should give it. Why? Because at least you're going to do something with your money. And especially now that people are donating anyway. People say, yeah, but I give. Listen, somebody came to the Chafetz Chaim. He said, K'vod Harav, I'm giving this money on bracha. Chafetz Chaim wasn't exactly impressed with the guy. He says, it's not enough. For the Rav, it's a lot of money. Yeah, it's not enough. For the Rav, all the $30,000, a lot of money. Yeah, it's not enough. It's not enough. How does Kvod Rav know 30,000 not enough? He says, let's do a fair accounting of your calculations, your own finances. What do you do? No, Kvod Rav, I give a lot of tzedakah. I give a lot to all these different places. Okay, so let's do the accounting. How much you make and what you spend. They did an accounting. The guy did the accounting, and to his surprise, he realized that he spends more money on window treatment than he does on Torah. He never knew it. He thought that he buys 30,000 here, 20,000 there. He figured that he funds a lot of Torah because it's a lot of money. But in comparison to his pleasures of the world, he actually spent more money fixing his windows, putting window treatment, putting these felt, fancy schmancy felt, and all types of fabric around his windows, he spent more money on that than actually Torah. But he never thought about it because he figured he spent 30,000 here, 40,000 here. It looks like a big number. It is a big number, but not relatively speaking. Most people think that they give a lot more than they do. 99% of people do not even give the 10% that they're obligated to give. Go look at your salary. You got $100,000 last year. Did you give 10,000? Oh no, I have expenses. So what? You still have to give the 10,000. Did you give it to myself? You didn't give myself. Okay, so you didn't give enough. Oh, but if Hashem gives me more, liar. Hashem gives you more, doesn't mean you're going to give more. Doesn't mean you're going to give more. Doesn't mean that. It's the opposite. The more you have, it's harder to give. So every person has to evaluate how much tzedakah they're really giving. If you're not giving masel, you're nowhere near giving enough. If you make a lot of money, you should give a lot more than masel. If you want to show emunah, you should give 20% even. But the point is that you have to get giving into your life. Giving needs to be as a significant part of your life. Because you're giving Hashem a signature showing that you know that all of it is coming from Him. That's number one. And number two is that you know that the bracha that's coming from Hashem also is the same place going to decide whether to give you more or not. Now you're showing that you're a good partner. Why? Because you're using the money that He gives you, the bracha that He gives you, for what? To publicize His name. Unlike most people, that Hashem gives them bracha, what do? To desecrate His name. He gives them money, they go to nightclubs with it. He gives them the ability to have kids, they waste seed. He gives them eyes, they look at improper things. But you give masel, you're showing that you're a good partner to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, it's worth it for me to give this guy. It's worth it for me to give this girl more money. But people get offended. Oh no, why it's so expensive? What are you selling the Torah? Who's selling the Torah? What do you think I'm buying? I don't even have a car. What's the... People think that you're making money out of this. No, it's not money. You don't want to give? Don't give. It's not. You're not doing me a favor. That's the reality. You're not doing me a favor. You're not doing it. There's not even 1 ounce of favor in here. If you're giving to a Chuva organization that's real, you're doing yourself a favor. If you don't think it's a favor, don't do it. Don't do it. Keep your money. Enjoy it. Go buy bubblegum with it. I don't care. Makes no difference to me. Kadosh Baruch Hu is in simple chad another way. That's the thing that people don't understand. I hate to talk about money. Because I remember that the people that used to come to me, all they cared was money. They never cared about me doing tshuva. But the problem is that because we never talk about money, there's more and more expenses and less, more and more issues with it. So you have to sometimes mention it to people to remind them, listen, you watch 3 shurim a week. But the last time you donated was 3 months ago. You donated $100. What, you only make $100 every 3 months? No, you probably make $5,000 a month, right? So how come you only gave $100? And the best part is, like, oh, well, you never asked. I never knew. Well, I have to ask you. You didn't watch the shurim. I have one guy tells me, listen, you helped me do tshuva. You changed my life. Since I've been watching your shiur, already for 1.5 years, I've been giving my local Chabad $600 a month. I'm so happy about it. I'm so blessed. Another guy tells me one day, this is maybe 4 years ago, tells me, I was like, I told him, you need tefillin, you don't have tefillin. No, I said, okay, I'll get you tefillin. I got him $1,000 pair of tefillin. Somebody sponsored $1,200 pair of tefillin. Because the guy says he didn't have any money. So, Jew needs it. I said, at the time, I said, if I have somebody, I'll give it to you. I don't have a sponsor right now. A couple people asked me, I don't have it. But if I have it, I'll give it to you. I don't care. So, but now we ask more questions because we've made a couple of mistakes, and like this one I'm mentioning to you right now. I sent the guy $1,000 pair of tefillin for free. Books, this, that, the other thing. He says he has no money. He wants to do tshuva. He's already 60 years old. Zat Hashem, maybe one day he'll have it. Maybe he doesn't. 2 months later, 3 months later, he sends me, oh yeah, thank you. Wow, it changed my life. Baruch Hashem, great. You know, I just gave $400 to Breslev and another $400 to Chabad. They've really been so helpful, and thank you very. I said to myself, is this guy stupid with a degree or without a degree? He's still working on it. First of all, you lied. You have money. Second of all, I don't understand. I sent you $1,000 pair of tefillin for free. You never thought to give the money back? No. So sometimes you have to tell people. People, every single day, people ask me if they should donate to somebody else. Listen, is this organization kosher? Can I donate there? Is this kollel kosher? Is this yeshiva kosher? Can you help publicize this campaign? I got one today. Helps it. Can you do me a favor? They're doing a matching. Can you help publicize this Bet Knesset's campaign on your page so other people could donate there? And I'm thinking to myself, what? People think I live on man? Or like, I don't understand. So sometimes you have to mention it. I hate it. I hate to talk about it. You have to understand how much of a kaparat avonot it is for me. You know, so the point is that sometimes you have to mention this stuff because people don't get the point. People don't get the point. But like I said, if you make HaKadosh Baruch Hu a priority in your life, meaning that you're going to help other people do tshuva, you will help yourself in this world and the next. If you don't, and you think that you could do without it, by all means, technically you can. But will it happen? I don't know. It all depends on you. All depends on you. I just think that most people, from my experience, have too much of a difficulty doing tshuva for big sins by themselves. They need the help of others. They need others doing tshuva. So that's it. This is, unless you guys have any other critical questions, the halachot of Rosh Hashanah are relatively simple. Rosh Hashanah is like Shabbat. So you're not allowed to drive on Rosh Hashanah. You're not allowed to use your phones on Rosh Hashanah, not even for kiruv purposes. You're allowed to cook fire to fire, but in Florida, there's no gas here. So fire to fire is pretty much completely non-relevant here. So you have to pretty much cook everything before the Chag and put it on the hot plate during the Chag. If you live somewhere else, like in New York and other places that have gas, then you can use fire to light the gas. But your local rabbi, I'm sure, is going to go over this stuff with you. You have to go to Beit Knesset if you're a guy to pray with the minyan, but also most important to listen to the shofar. Shofar is a mitzvah from the Torah. So even if you hate the Beit Knesset, then suck it up and go to the Beit Knesset. But if it's a Beit Knesset that everybody's talking and socializing and you can't even hear anything, then you don't have to go. You don't have to go. But if people are relatively decent and they have some respect for the Torah where they listen to Amidah and so on, at least during that time they're quiet, then go. Also for the people that do not speak Hebrew, know how to read Hebrew or know how to make the sounds in Hebrew, but they don't know what it actually means. Because there is a special significance to the words that Chazal used to put Amidah, the prayer of Amidah, together, it's better if you read Amidah only in Hebrew. The rest of the prayers you can read in English. Most of it is Tehillim and so on. But Amidah specifically, it's better that you read it in Hebrew, even if you don't know what the words mean. Because what you're going to do is, over these next couple of days, you're going to look at the Amidah in the Machzor of Rosh Hashanah in English, learn what it says, so when you read it in Hebrew, you still have an understanding of what's going on. You still have an understanding. The rest of the prayer you read in English. It's good that you understand what you're saying, but that specific prayer you should try to do it in Hebrew, meaning that you should, if you know. If you don't know, you don't know. If you don't know Hebrew at all, you don't know how to pronounce it, then you're anus. No problem. But if you do know, at least to make the sounds, then make the sounds, but again, learn the prayer. On the eve of Rosh Hashanah, make sure to have a festive meal. All of the ta'amim, whether it's the rimon, the pomegranate, or the different fruits that are used, there's no specific obligation to use any one over the other. They're all customs. So if you don't have one, don't lose your mind, don't get angry, don't be upset. It's okay. They're all just customs. They're all customs. Women, when you light the candle for Yom Tov, don't say the blessing of Shechianu. Wait for your husband to come home when you do the Kiddush, and he'll say Shechianu for the whole family. The second day of Rosh Hashanah, you cannot say Shechianu on the Kiddush, so it's good to get a fruit that you haven't eaten in the last year, a new fruit, and say Shechianu on the fruit. Because you're not allowed to say Shechianu on the second day because it's not really new. It's already the second day of Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is the only holiday that is celebrated 2 days everywhere, including Eretz Yisrael. That's the other thing. The food that your wife makes or that you make, if it's good or not, is not going to change your deen in Shemaim. But if you get angry during the meal, that's going to change your deen. Meaning, even if the food tastes like it belongs to animals, don't get angry. Why? Because it's not going to change your judgment in Shemaim. But if you get angry at your wife, or you insult whoever cooked the food, that's going to change your deen. That's going to change your deen. It's a very, very bad thing to get angry on Rosh Hashanah. So whatever happens, remember, the Yetzer Hara is going to try to make you angry. Why? Because if you get angry on Rosh Hashanah, pretty much you ruin your whole year. So don't get angry on Rosh Hashanah at all. Make sure to spend as much time as you can in the Beit Knesset, learning, enjoying the Chag, and that's it. It's a fantastic Chag. It's a fantastic opportunity to enjoy with the family. Our next Shiur is going to be next Wednesday. Next Wednesday is the next Shiur, B'ezrat Hashem. And pretty much for the next month, the Shiur is pretty much going to be probably once a week. It's either going to be a Wednesday or a Sunday whenever there's no holidays. For a couple of reasons. One is because we have the holidays, but also two, it's a time for me to take a little bit of more time to re-energize. But we're still, B'ezrat Hashem, going to try our best to have at least one Shiur per week. Obviously, if you have any crisis, first call 911. When they tell you that they can't help you, then you can text me. Seder B'ezrat Hashem, all of us will have a Shana Tova, Shana Metuka, Chatima Tova B'ezrat Hashem. Hopefully, we'll take each word that I said and remember at least part of it to do some Chuva before Rosh Hashanah B'ezrat Hashem and arrive at Rosh Hashanah prepared to change. Prepared to change. If we're prepared to change, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will also change the decree that we really deserve into what we want, which is B'ezrat Hashem, only good, and we'll get blessings B'ezrat Hashem. So thank you very much for learning with me over this last year. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yivarech otchem b'kol mikol kol, all of the people that have supported us, whether it's financially, or it's by sharing the shiurim, or it's by simply sending a nice email or a letter, whatever you did to support our work, the Kiyuv, the Kiddush Hashem that we're trying to do. Thank you very much about it. The people that are living in Eretz Yisrael are going to have the merit, about 15 of them are going to have the merit to go to the Siyum HaShas that Rabbi Chaim is having. The party he's having tomorrow. When he completes the Shas, each time it's like a wedding celebration. It's a big hall and people and so on. So about 15 of our students are actually going tomorrow. Tomorrow over there, B'ezrat Hashem. So, Shrem v'asher chelkeim. But anyone that wants to watch, some of the stuff is going to go on. It's going to actually be on Facebook Live. We'll see it tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem. But again, remember, the Chag is a time to do tshuva, and it's also a time to be with your family. It's a time to enjoy life. Not a time to worry about work and money and all these other things that you worry about the rest of the week. And then, B'ezrat Hashem, next week, we'll start talking about Yom Kippur and some of the other things. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.